Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the newest episode of the Theater Enthusiast podcast. I'm very excited, and I told this to the guests, like, I'm excited to
Oh,
have you
good.
here. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like,
excited to be here.
yeah, great. Fresh off of his run from Swept Away. Like I showed him, I am wearing the hoodie in honor
She's
of
wearing the
Swept Away.
hoodie, and we do
I
have
am.
shaded
It's,
pieces too.
you know, it's a really good hoodie.
It's soft. It's
It's
really
a,
soft. It's well made. They crushed the merch. They did a very good
yeah.
job.
So I got a part-time job doing merch, so I got this for free, NBD. And right? Because
Deal.
Broadway hoodies are expensive.
I mean, you got to take a loan out sometimes, depending on
Right?
where
Yeah,
you
no, honestly, yeah. And then there was a jacket that was like $200 that they
Yeah.
started to sell.
At the
We,
very end.
yeah, the very, we'll get into it. But no, it's a good one. It's a good one. Anyway, now that we're just talking swept away, please welcome Brandon Kalm. Oh, yes.
Hello, everyone.
I like how I'm applauding. Nobody's going to see this video. It's just you and I.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
It's our little secret, it feels like.
Yeah, it's a
Something
little
just
secret. Nobody knows what you're wearing.
Yeah. And no
Yeah,
one, well, they do know that you're in the hoodie, but and they
they
don't know
do.
which one, which is good because there were
They don't know
two.
what?
They don't know which hoodie you're in because there were two.
Oh, that's right. You are correct on that one. Yeah, I won't divulge that. Let people think what they want.
Can have their imagination a little bit, flex.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say you still have the full beard. Are we keeping this? Because I know your headshot is full beard that you
Yeah, I think I am keeping it at least for a little while. I feel like when I have like what is on my old headshot and the way that I used to look, I kind of look like every other white guy doing musical theater. So I was like, this is kind of nice to just switch it up a little bit and see what happens. I'm like, it wasn't going incredibly well before, so I might as well try it something new and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting too, because you understudied younger brother. Yes,
Yeah.
big brother and little brother. And I was like, I wonder if they're going to make him shave his beard if he did it. And then when I was researching you and did such a deep dive into your Instagram,
Woo.
um, so I looked at everything. I know you when you were at Berkeley, you went on as Big Brother, and they did not have you shave. So I
Did,
came,
yeah. Yeah, so
yeah.
I went on there. I did a full week of shows there. Stark had to leave to go start his and Juliet contract.
Mm,
The extension happened because we went down for a full week. Everybody got COVID in the company
mm.
during our run there in Berkeley, except for myself and Adrian, I think.
Interesting.
Um, and so we were just kind of on lockdown for a week. So we added that last little bit, and I got to go on for the full week. So it was incredible. I had such a good time doing that.
Amazing. So if you were to have gone on the Broadway, even as like younger brother, little
Mhm.
brother, what's the title?
Little brother,
Thank you. I have it written down, I promise.
I believe you.
Thank you. Would you have had to have shaved?
No, I would have kept it. I think
Okay.
they did like their reasoning was like, we want you to look the way you look for the ensemble, like Susan Hilferty being our costume designer and like the art in general. They're like, this is the blueprint,
Mhm.
and it would take me so long to grow my beard out
Yeah.
as long as I have to
Mhm.
do even a week long run would be like, it's just not worth it. So
Yeah.
they would have me have the beard for either of the roles.
So anybody listening, if they're interested in beard maintenance, how have you been keeping it moisturized and what have you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I still use the same like face wash that I use prior to having this beard, but then afterward kind of like sort of depends, like twice a week or three times a week, I'll use this beard conditioner in the shower and leave that in for a little bit, where you rinse it out, and then when you get out you dry off your beard and you have a little beard balm that you put in there. So it like keeps your skin from drying out, and then it makes your beard not feel like the bristles of a broom.
So much maintenance just for a beard. Who knew?
A lot. Yeah, I know. Turns out there's a lot that you have to do for it.
Yeah. There was, I think, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but I feel like Will Arnett and Jason Bateman did like some sort of like documentary, like man documentary, like
Oh,
years
like a smart
ago.
thing before Smartless or
Yeah. And they had like this guy on who had a beard, like a very long, like beautiful beard and like the maintenance of it and everything. And some guy jokingly almost like cut it off and he got like very aggressive with him and he was
oh
like,
wow.
back off. Yeah.
Oh
Cause like
yeah.
beard is his baby.
Well, once it gets to a certain length, it starts growing really slowly, I found. Like
Mm.
it gets to a certain place and then it just kind of stays there.
Yeah.
So
Is that where we are right now?
No, I trimmed it up a little bit. So
Okay,
I had to have some sort of, I didn't want to look like I was still, being swept away on my boat. I had to have like I needed to
gotcha.
look,
Yeah,
I needed to look like somewhat presentable whenever I went out. So I'll probably give it another trim here in the next week or so.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, maybe a little bit shorter than we're at now.
Okay. Well, let's before we go back to like full beard swept away, let's go further back in time. Where are you from?
I'm from Dallas, Texas, originally, North Dallas suburb called Plano.
And what got you interested in performing?
I you need to have an extracurricular activity or extracurricular credit when you're in high school for the arts. And I grew up loving movies. Like that's how I had a relationship with my dad. We watch movies together. So I love film. And when I was in high school, before I got there, my sister was 3 years older than me in school. So she's like, you need to have an arts credit, and when you do, you should take theater because they do an improv section, and it's like whose line is it anyway? And that was my favorite show. I loved that show.
I
So
mean, it's so fucking. What's your favorite improv game? Whose line is it anyway?
I mean, I think when I was younger, I
Mhm.
was a big fan of the hoedown at the end of the
Mm,
show.
yeah,
But now I think looking back on it, my favorite is like party guests when they have the people come over and they have the some sort of weird tick, and then the person hosting the party has to decide what
yeah.
their tick is. I love the physical comedy. I think all those guys are genius.
My personal favorite forever and always will be Scenes from a Hat.
Yes, so good too.
It's so good. But Hoedown is fun. Sometimes like clips will come up on my For You page and it'll be
Yeah.
like Colin Mockery. Just one point he just goes meow.
Mhm.
Yeah. And another personal favorite of mine, I think I like have it saved on my phone somewhere, where they were doing newscasters and he said, "My name is Pierre because my bladder is empty."
Yeah,
Good.
unbelievable.
Brilliant. Okay, so extracurricular activities, you decided to do the theater program. They had
I did.
improv.
That all went well, and then my theater teacher was like, "You should audition for the school musical. We're doing Fiddler on the Roof." And I was like, "I have no idea what that is." And I enjoyed singing. I had just started singing with a band in high school, like a group of friends of mine who played music, and
Mhm.
um, I didn't know what I was doing. I just liked hanging out with my friends, and they needed somebody to sing, so I started doing that. And then when I did the play, it was like a cafetorium, like there I I did that show, and was fully bitten by the bug. I was like, "Oh, wow, this is incredible." And before then I was like big into sports. I played baseball and basketball, and I gave up on all that and just like really put all my eggs in the theater basket from that point on.
Do you remember who you played in Fiddler?
Yes, I do. I was Mendel, the rabbi's son,
Oh.
and I understudied the three men who got married, and on opening night I had to go on for Model the Tailor. It was a big scandal.
Oh my goodness, I love a scandal. Please
Oh
tell
yeah.
more.
Oh, not really. The guy got sick, and
Oh, okay.
he got sick, and I had to go on. But I'm like, I guess I it's when I really knew that I had the swing brain.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, by the way, happy National Swing Day, by the way. You're
thank you very
welcome.
much.
I did
We
write
love.
that down.
You did?
I did. I wrote it down. I wrote today, 1:15 is National Swing Day, just to wish you a happy swing day.
You chose the right day for this interview.
I
It's great.
know. I mean, we're
Yeah,
not releasing the episode until next week, but hey,
that's okay.
yeah. For those
We'll know we
listening, they can
recorded
go
on.
back in time and pretend it's today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, you were getting your like understudy swing on pretty early.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean I found that to be it was thrilling. I also thought I was gonna die doing that, and my very first play ever. But it went well, and I had a lot of fun, and I just loved the people who were drawn to theater, the people I met in that class. I went to a gigantic high school, so I knew a lot of people, most people, but there were people who I really like got to know doing that course, and those were like ended up being some of my deepest friendships that I had in school. Just people who like had a genuine interest in acting and the arts, and uh, taking the extra time, after school to like be there and donate their time to creating something. It was I learned a lot really fast from people who had been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah. So what brought you to Pace?
I so a person had graduated from my high school 4 years before me. His name's Hunter Ryan Herdlicka. Unbelievable performer, incredibly talented. Went to Carnegie Mellon, and came back to my school um, to sort of talk to us about like what the collegiate experience was going to college because I didn't know you could go to school for theater at that point. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you absolutely could do that. You can study musical theater, you can study acting, though you can get a degree in those things." And he used a college audition coach. Her name was Mariana Denard. She was based out of Plano or out of Dallas. And so I messaged her and she had me go for a meeting and she ended up scholarshiping me to be able to be in her program. I did like admin work for her and sort of work for her while I was doing the program with her. She's an incredibly generous and wonderful human being, and sort of showed me the ropes on what auditioning for colleges was, what the unified auditions were, what all of these things. I'm like just my mind blowing every single day, being like, oh wow, like all the colleges will go to one place and I can audition for all of them there. And she had a really good relationship with Amy Rogers, who was the head of the program at Pace at the time. And so I auditioned for the school exclusively off of this person who recommended that I audition for it because I trusted her.
And then was there any other schools you auditioned for, or was
Oh
Pace?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I auditioned for Webster, Michigan, Carnegie Mellon, NYU, Pace, Texas State,
Mhm.
and maybe one more. I can't remember.
That's okay. So what made you decide on Pace?
They were the only school that accepted me.
Oh.
No, I had a couple of offers, but Pace seemed the best for me as far as like I knew I wanted to move to New York. I knew that even though I'd never been there, I knew that if I was going to be studying musical theater, which is the program that I happened to get into, that I wanted to be as close to the business as humanly possible. And and I knew that the school was reputable because they were doing something that nobody had done before. It was like giving they were the first BFA program in New York. I think there are a couple now, but they at the time they were the only one, and they were offering kids who were on Broadway college credit for their classes by doing their shows. So a lot of unbelievably talented, naturally gifted, and studied performers were going there. And so I knew that there was going to be a lot that I could learn from not only the teachers who were going to be there, but the people who were going to be my contemporaries in school. So I figured that it was the best place for me to be, and also make my transition towards if I was going to move to New York or LA, so much easier after college, already living in one of those places than trying to figure out how I was going to get there after I graduated from another program.
Yeah, it's so interesting too because the program is so different now from when, I was there. I guess you too.
It's very different for me now
Yeah,
too.
it's like its own performing arts school. And
Yeah.
some of my closest friends I went to college with, and one of my best friends, she was musical theater, I was acting. And we joke about today, like if we couldn't get into the program now, like there's
Yeah.
no fucking way. Like,
I think about that all the time too. It's like I was definitely unpolished as a freshman in
oh,
college.
I was super green, super like I terrible. I called my high school to this day. I still call her this. She doesn't teach high school theater anymore, which just fills me with so much joy. And I know that's terrible, but whatever. I call her the spawn of Satan. But going into college, I was so green, and I actually auditioned for Amy Rogers for musical theater and I didn't get into the program. But she's like, you want to direct, get a BA. So I was on the BA track and I had no idea what I was fucking doing. So I was
Yeah,
taking all of the classes that my friends were. And I did a show my junior year, and Grant, who I think still is part of PACE,
I think
I
so.
was
Yeah.
meeting with him, yeah, to go over like classes. I think this was like junior year. And he's like, why don't you just get a BFA? Like you're taking all the BFA classes. You'll use this show that you did as your audition, so you don't have to re-audition for the program, and you'll get a BFA. And I was like, great. And then we walked out of his office, and the head of the department was there. He's like, yeah, we're going to have her get a BFA, and we'll just use the show she did as her audition. And the department head was like, okay.
Sounds like Pace. That sounds
Okay,
like Pace
great.
back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing that people did like about Pace was you can audition for things outside of the program, which is great. I think that's still a thing.
Yes, I believe so. I
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah, because Mr. Speaking of going to Pace, you were there for 2 years and then you got the international tour of American Idiot.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk that. How was that?
Sure.
How did that happen? Were you just taking classes and auditioning outside? Like, what was that whole process for you?
Yeah. So when I first got there, I realized painfully that I didn't know very much at all. And I was like astounded by the talent of the people who were around me. And it took every ounce of my self-worth to be like, you should be here. This is good. You don't want to be the best person in the room. You want to be the worst, technically being not maybe the most operative word, but like the being the most help maybe. It's like I wanted to go to school to learn. That was
Mhm.
why I got the degree,
Well,
and so
sorry, I just like had a moment of someone who you look like and it's freaking me out.
who is it?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'll take that. I'll take that in.
Yeah.
That's good.
Sorry. I was like,
Everybody
oh my
in the
God, he looks like Paul
just
Rudd.
like Paul Rudd.
Well, who do you
He
normally
was
get?
sexiest man alive multiple times, just saying.
No, only the one. I'm sorry.
Okay, only the
Well, I'm
one
sure
time.
he's sexiest man alive to many people, and the man
That's
doesn't
true.
age.
It's true. He is timeless. I think he's
He
an
is.
alien. I don't know that
Yeah.
he's really human.
Yeah,
So
I've gotten Janine Garofalo, if it makes you feel better.
hey, Janine Garofalo is beautiful. Okay,
Mhm.
let's not knock
No, I
Janine.
remember I was working in a hotel once, and some guy walks up to my desk and he's like, "You ever see Romeo?" And I was like, "And Michelle's high school reunion, Heather
Reunion. Have I
Mooney."
ever seen that? Yeah.
I'm like, Heather Mooney, I get that a lot. Don't worry. Yeah. Um, Sorry, you were saying something, and I had my like, you look like Paul Rudd, who
No,
has
no, no.
done Broadway, which I find really interesting. When he's done theater, it's been more like dark comedy or like drama, and he's known for like a lot of comedy films.
Right,
Anyway,
right.
total
Well, I feel
side note.
the best comedians are actually unbelievable dramatic actors.
Yeah, I mean, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey. Yeah.
Um, but anyway,
Anyway,
so
back to you.
I so I didn't audition at all my freshman year and like going into my sophomore year.
I feel
I
like we're the same person because exact like Green going into college and didn't
yeah.
audition for anything.
No, 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 no.
Same.
I was like, I'm gonna embarrass myself if I audition for anything. So I was just like, I'm gonna be a sponge and just like absorb New York City and all of these people who are so talented and just like learn from watching their performances and from my teachers, And so I did that for my first year and a half. And then um for my freshman showcase, somebody had come who was doing some sort of casting for the first national tour for American Idiot. And so I went kind of far in that process and didn't ultimately get it, which was fine by me because I was enjoying school. And so then the next year after that tour ended and they went non-equity, I got called back in and sort of went like straight to the finals for that process.
Mhm.
And ultimately I booked it. And I remember I got the call that I booked it when I was seeing The Lions on Broadway, the Nikki Silver play that Michael Esper was starring in, and it felt like so surreal. I'm like, I saw Esper in the role um on Broadway, and then now I'm gonna like do this show myself. And so just like it felt kind of kismet and he's a performer who I've always looked up to. I think he's incredibly talented. I studied with his father. Um, and anyway, so I went on the tour for 18 months of my life. I got credit for my performing arts classes at Pace by doing the tour, and then I was doing all of my gen ed courses because it's a liberal art college at Pace. For those of you who don't know, so
Mhm.
I was doing my gen ed courses like in the back of a bus in London, like traveling to Birmingham and being like, "Hey, I'm very sorry, my professor who I'm never going to meet. I really appreciate if you could give me maybe one more day to swing this because I am on a travel day or blah 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 blah." And so my professors were very kind and worked with me. And I did all of my gen ed courses while I was performing throughout the UK and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Like definitely um top three, maybe even the best, honestly. Like to be 20, I just turned 21 years old. Everybody on the tour with me had just graduated college. I was like the baby of the group, and we were all doing this show of music that we all jumped on our beds to and screamed at
Mhm.
the top of our lungs when we were in high school. We were traveling as rock stars, and we were going through college towns in the US and going out, and people waiting at the stage door ready to take us to whatever amazing event was happening in the town that night. It just was I met some of my greatest and longest friends on that show who are still family to me. It was it was also like a brutal show. It was very difficult on your body, on your voice. So it was like musical theater boot camp, truly.
Mhm.
And I
What
came
was,
Oh,
no, go ahead. No, please, after you.
I came back a lot stronger, vocally, mentally, as a performer after those 18 months going into my senior year of school.
Yeah. So I know that you performed as Johnny a couple of times. Were you an ensemble? Like, what was your actual role
Yeah,
in
so
that?
I was in the ensemble. I was the Brian Charles Johnson track. Shout out Brian
Mhm.
Charles Johnson, BCJ, love you.
I'm seeing him in
Um,
a concert in 2 weeks with
oh,
fellow Pace alums who
Foxbriar
wrote a
Lane.
musical. Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that. Maybe I'll
Are
see
you
you
going to
there.
be there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm 100% there. Aton texted me. He's like, "Hey, friend, I'm doing
Oh,
this."
they're
I'm like, "I'll be
great. He and
there."
Brandon are great. And the music is
Yeah.
is beautiful, and like he and Gerard are friends. I'd love to
I,
catch that.
I actually let's talk about like people we know, as in this is my fake
Sure.
cigarette.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you. I'm my old roommate and I, we were like big Spring Awakening fans. So
Oh,
we were at Spring Awakening and we met this guy and his friend. Turned out this guy and his friend were Brandon and his friend.
oh, amazing.
Yeah, and so then like however long later we were in Connolly, that doesn't exist anymore, that record store that was on like 49th and Broadway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And we were like, "Hey, remember that guy we met at that stage door? I shit you not, we ran into him like 10 minutes later."
You
And
just
he's like,
randomly were thinking about him, like talking
yeah,
about him.
and he's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about auditioning for Pace." And we're like, "We go to Pace."
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and then he gets into Pace, and then he and I, his freshman year, my senior year, we do a student production of Dogs He's Got together where he's CB and I'm CB sister.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and Eton's in
Crazy.
the
That's
show.
such a
Yeah, small
small,
fuck.
like New York for as big as it is really is like such a small world. The industry in general is just
Yeah,
so small, actually.
yeah, yeah. Well, what's even weirder was the last person I interviewed for my podcast is now a Tony nominee, but it turns out that he and I are from the same hometown, and we
Oh,
did a production of The Wizard of Oz together when we were in elementary school.
that's amazing.
It
That's
was wild.
amazing. Listen,
Yeah,
you've done a show with a Tony nominee. That's
I
that's
have.
real.
And I like posted about it on Facebook, and like all these people we did the show with are like commenting about it. It's really funny.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, anyway, so back to you, back to American. Well, I also find it interesting too that you did American Idiot and cut to all these years later. Now you have worked with John Gallagher Jr.
Yeah, yeah. I know it is funny. It's like Johnny was always someone who I admired deeply as when I was in high school, with obviously with Spring Awakening, and um he just is an incredible performer,
Yeah.
and I'd known him, I'd met him like through the American Idiot like family,
Hmm.
but we never like had like a full conversation or anything before I booked this show. So it was really cool to just get to know him as like a contemporary, as my friend, and just like get to work with someone who I deeply admire.
Yeah. He's an excellent performer, and you sometimes like forget how good he is until you see him in something.
Yeah, yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. And he's also just like one of the greatest dressing room ones I've ever worked with. Just like such a kind, caring, giving person, knows everybody in the building. Just like very generous with his time, and like never makes anybody feel small. Just a really wonderful person. I have like nothing but the best things to say about John Gallagher Jr. I love him.
Great. I can't wait for like another saloon session that we're gonna get into, and maybe he'll make
Yeah.
an appearance.
I know we would love that. We would love that.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? Because you guys are going to be doing it monthly now, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're having the monthly residency at Hurley's, and it's
Yeah.
the first one went great. So we're really looking
Yeah.
forward to continuing and seeing what we do next.
Don't worry, we'll get to it. I promise. We got a lot of swept away to talk about, a lot of other
Good,
things.
good.
So hold on, I have to cough. American Idiot. Oh my God, happens.
Ooh,
You go back to Pace. So what happens next? You do, but by the way, I didn't realize that I actually saw you in the Tempest in the park.
you did.
I did. I did see the Tempest. No idea it was you. Don't remember you in the show. I'm sorry.
I had a beard almost as long as this one then too. That's
Really?
funny.
I mean, I can only remember from photos on the interwebs of you
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Sam Oh my God, why can't I say his name?
Waterston.
Thank you. And the girl who played his daughter. That's like all I.
Francesca. Yeah.
But I
Um,
did see that production.
that was I loved that show.
Yeah.
I loved that. That was
Was
I
that
looked at that.
before? Was that after Pace?
That was after Pace. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Okay.
after Pace.
So, and you also, I just need to shout this out because it's really cool that you also did it, was Sweeney Todd at the Philharmonic, directed by
Yeah.
Vincent Price and Queen Emma Thompson.
Oh my goodness.
Let's
That
talk
was
about it. Let's talk
yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
What do you want to say about it?
That was through Pace, which was amazing.
Yes. I think because I
Um,
remember some people I went to Pace with also worked on the company that they
yeah,
did with the Phil. So I know that there was like some connection there.
yeah. An Amy had a good working relationship with Lonnie Price. I think she was his AD like many moons ago before she was on something like that. I'm pretty sure AD before she started the program at Pace. So she had known him for a very long time, worked with him for a very long time, and so they together sort of created this partnership where Lonnie was doing things at the Philharmonic and doing these concert series, and they were using pace performers to understudy the roles and sort of just be there. A lot of the time, it was like you were basically a stand-in, like on set, like on a film set. But
Yeah.
occasionally, you would get up there and do the work, and it was very surreal. It was very surreal to be in school and on stage doing scene work with Audra McDonald, in a rehearsal space. Um it just sounds like crazy to even remember that I did that. It feels like a dream. But another just unbelievable, invaluable lesson and just like working with people who you've watched a million videos on YouTube of, and now they're right there in front of you, and you've got to show up and like deliver, like do your job. It's not about like being a fan, it's about like trying to like help do the work, and like that was hard to do at the time. Very hard to do to not like have the stars in your eyes when you're a kid in school.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment because sometimes when you watch interviews, like especially like movies of interviews with actors who work with like very prestigious people, and then they're like, "So you worked with this actor? Like, how long were you starstruck? Like, did you have any moments like that during where you're just like, got to keep it cool, or did you have like, oh hey, what was it like working with this person?"
I I mean, I definitely was very starstruck. I never like used the opportunity to be like, listen, I'm a huge fan of your work. Like I didn't want to make it weird. I think like I was going above and beyond to be like, yes, I am 19 years old or I am 20 years old and I'm also cool. I'm cool. Everything's good.
Yeah.
You're a, 5, 6, 7 time Tony Award winner and that's amazing and I deeply value it, but I'm cool and I'm not going to freak out and you can talk to me about anything you want to talk about. So I wanted to keep the channel open as opposed to feeling like a fan in the room. I didn't want to.
Welcome to me doing this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So once you finish your BFA, what next? You say the Tempest. You did the senior showcase, correct?
Yes, so I did the senior showcase. I so fortunately I got called in by Don Buckwald and Associates to have an interview. I loved them. They just felt like the right fit for me. They're an excellent agency, like very prestigious agency. The people I met with Sherry Talkovsky, who had graduated from the Pace Music Theater program before
Yep.
me. He's the reason why Buckwald was even at Pace Showcases in the first place. She was a assistant to who ended up becoming my agent at the time, Leslie Zaslower. Shout out Zaz, love you. Um, and these people just really believed in me, just really saw me for who I dreamed about myself being. And I owe them a debt of gratitude for that. And I've just had such a good working relationship with them. I've been with them since I graduated college, and I realize how rare that is. I feel like so many performers don't have a good relationship with their agents and managers. I also have a manager, Brian Leader, through Authentic, who I ended up getting through.
It sounds like you're giving an acceptance speech. Thank you for
Yeah,
the people. Do you like want to hold up your like water glass, pretend
this
it's a
is my water glass. It says
yeah.
Crested Butte,
I'm gonna hold up my
Colorado.
hot priest mug.
Hot priest.
Yeah, it
We love
says
hot
Neil.
priest.
I drink this every podcast out of here.
You do? What a
Hmm.
great character. What an incredible performer he
Oh my
is.
God. Are you not seeing Vanya when it comes to off-Broadway? Or
I will sell my kidneys to go see Vanya when it comes.
I saw at National Theater the film
Yeah,
production they
and they were
did. One of the most incredible things I've ever seen. And I'm seeing it twice off Broadway because my friend was in Greece and I was like, I'm getting us tickets. And then she's like, oh my God, my other friend got me a ticket as well. And I was like, you are not allowed to see Andrew Scott on stage more than me.
That's right. You got to go again.
Yeah, because I have a deep-rooted love for Andrew Scott because
Well,
of the
look,
High Priest.
you know it's going to be different. That's the best part is he doesn't do the same thing every time. The
I
next
know.
performance will be totally different because he's just there. He
Yeah,
just whatever he's got, he just gives it that day. It's always authentic. It's
yeah,
always he is unbelievable.
yeah. Get your ticket now. That's what I say.
Okay.
'Cause
How
I
about
think
that?
it, yeah, no, no, for real though, you should
Yeah.
because I
No,
Lord knows how much money it is at this point.
especially after we've talked about it now on the podcast, these tickets are going to be
Yeah.
going.
The tens of people that listen to this podcast.
All 10 of you don't buy your tickets until I can get off. Oh wait, this is airing next week. I already bought my ticket. Ha, how
Oh,
about
good, good. As soon as we're done recording, you're just gonna go on your Today Tick app and
that? Absolutely.
do it now. I can wait.
No, 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 no.
I'm totally joking. Okay, so your acceptance speech with your glass. I totally missed what you were saying your glass is from because I was overshadowing you with my hot priest.
You can always overshadow me with the hot priest. That's
I
fine.
do. I
I'll,
do
I'll
have
accept.
a hot priest prayer candle. I used to light every podcast, but I lit it so much that I can't light it anymore.
You got to get one of those long matches,
You
like a
know, I try it.
fireball.
I have like the what are
Yeah,
I
the clicker, the Bic clicker, the
mhm,
long one.
didn't work
Yeah.
for that either.
Huh.
Yeah, I think it was just time. I do have a Timothy Chalamet prayer candle, but it's not the same.
It's really not. It's
That was
not
gifted to me, by the way. I did not purposely buy a Timothy
about that. It's
prayer
okay. You
candle.
can admit it. It's fine.
Hot priest when I did. Timothy, not so much. Anyway, so
Um,
what is your glass from?
my glass is from Crested Butte, Colorado. That is where my grandparents lived when I was a kid, and I have a soft spot for that place. I love Colorado. I love being outside. I love the outdoors, hiking. So it's a prized possession of mine.
Oh, lovely. So a great, great little memento to give your award speech to with that
Yeah,
glass. Huh.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we've done our acceptance speech for your glass and your agent and manager, what happened? Did they just like throw you out in auditions
Yeah,
and
that's
started
exactly what happened.
doing the
They started
Tempest?
throwing me out in auditions, and
Yeah.
I started going on auditions. I ended up going in for Jim Carnahan, who was casting the Tempest at the time, and I booked it. Yeah, I booked that, and it was I was working at a wine bar at the time, which I did not enjoy, although I was working with my two friends who I love. Um, I was very happy to get a job in the park for
Mhm.
that summer, even though I ate like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because you don't make any money doing Shakespeare in the park. It was totally fine because I had the best time.
I always,
I loved
sorry. Yeah, I love Shakespeare in the Park. And I always love hearing people's experiences about working there. So you want to share a little insight into what it was like working there
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
becoming friends with the raccoons?
Oh yes, you have to make peace with the raccoons. You have to make friends with the raccoons. It's like peace is not enough because they're
Yeah.
going to be all up in there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, I mean, now it's going to be a completely different experience for the folks who do it. They've totally revitalized it and redone it over this last summer. I can't wait to go see what it's like. But
Good luck to any of us getting tickets for that production.
yeah, right.
Yeah. If you have anybody listening have a hookup, please let me know.
Let us know.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
I fucking love Peter Dinklage, so to get to see him on stage and anything would be incredible.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was I just loved the experience. I mean, being a person who likes the outdoors, right? You know, it's like it's the best of the things that I love. I'm stage acting outside in a beautiful place, and
Mhm.
to do that show was so fun because on like the inclement weather days, we would still do the show, and the beginning of the show is a huge storm, so it felt like you're doing the like $10 million production while it's actually raining outside and you're fighting the masts. You know, it was very special. And that was the show that after working on that, I was like, I really want to get a better like acting education. I just worked with people who I mean I'd seen on TV all growing up, people who deeply admired, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Sam Waterston, these guys, Bernie White, Louis Chalme. Oh my gosh, like as Caliban was unbelievable, and these guys were just incredible actors, and I sort of felt like a fraud. And I was like, I want to really enjoy myself up here. I don't want to feel like I don't belong here, you know? And so that's when I ended up applying and going to the Esper Studio after that.
So talk about your experience there.
That was, I think, the best 2 years of my life. I loved the program. I was Bill Esper's final class before he retired, and working with him was I mean, it was a gift. I mean, he was a living legend at the time, and just it was a real lesson in just like being yourself, understanding like who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what moves you, what are the thematic chords in your life that like bring you to life. I don't think I'd really asked myself any of those questions. You know, I just was like I looked at a page and I saw a line and I thought how to say it. I wasn't actually thinking about like what I was feeling or what had happened right before or like any of these things, like no as ifs, you know, to make it personalized. I just was kind of just flying by the seat of my pants, doing mimicking what I'd seen my contemporary classmates doing in college. And so I think I had like a couple experiences when I was in school where I really felt the emotion. And I remember being like, that's what I'm chasing, you know, that's the high that I'm looking for. And that program is really what made that more accessible to me.
Would you want to do more straight plays or more plays and more Shakespeare, classic, modern? How are we on the journey to getting there?
Yeah, I would love to do more straight plays. That would be incredible. I'd love to do, you know, I just would like to do acting, like be it stage, be it film, be it television. I love musicals. I love doing them, but I love the challenge of getting to do a play. Like I've haven't done that since the park, and I love classical. I love Shakespeare, but to get a chance to do a contemporary piece as a play would be a dream. That's
Have
definitely
you auditioned for any of that? Have you gotten any opportunities to try to
yeah,
go
yeah. So
that route? I mean, I
I
know you've
go
done some TV work as well, having a moment on that, what is it, Z for Zelda with Christine
yeah,
Ricci?
with Christina Ricci,
Mhm.
The Blacklist, and like yeah, like those were great experiences, and I would love to do more of that. I got pretty far in the process for The Inheritance, the play that was on Broadway a few years ago, and I really enjoyed my experience in the audition room with that. Um, so I go out for things like that. I haven't booked anything, you know, which is like okay, we'll just keep going.
I notice with a lot of musical theater performers I talk with, they always say that it's very hard for people to separate musical theater from acting. Do you find for like straight plays and what have you, do you find that for yourself on your, I don't want to say journey, but on
Yeah, no,
your way to
I
auditioning for things or
I
yeah,
do. I do. I find that it's once you do a thing, it's hard for people to see you do anything else. They know that you're proven in doing that thing, and I think in order to have people see you in a different light, you have to say no to stuff. Like I when I had done my first like standby gig, which was technically a swing gig with American Psycho,
Mhm.
and
Which
you
we'll talk about.
well, we'll get there. We'll get
Oh,
there.
I would just like to preface by saying I am a huge Benjamin Walker fan.
Oh, you and me both.
I have, it's not on my wall, but I do have a Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson Windows
Ah,
framed. I have been a fan of him since I saw him in Les Liaisons Dangereuses when I was in college. Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Wow.
it's real and it's hardcore. And I've emailed all of the people to try and get him onto this podcast, and I have not heard back from anyone.
Well, we're gonna work on it. We'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course.
'Cause I adore him.
He is talk about another like I
Mm,
think those two guys are up there as far as like dressing room one and like
mm.
taking care of a company, like
Yeah,
leading by example, being wonderful people. He is like a number one, top tier.
yeah. Anyway, so getting back to you in the, well, again,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
we'll
We'll
get
get
there. We'll get there.
baby birds, we're gonna feed you. It's gonna happen.
It's going to be great. We're going to talk about all the blood, all the blood.
Oh yeah.
We're also going to talk about Jordan Dean and how he was in Mamma Mia
He
because,
was in Mamma Mia.
oh, I will tell you the stories.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that.
Oh, yeah. Many years of merch.
Many years of merch. Oh yeah, you got the merch stories. You got the backstage tea.
Yeah, that's why I always tell people if like you're a performer, just be nice. That's like my biggest advice. I mean, like I'm not a performer. I like didn't go that route, unfortunately, but front of house people talk and they know all of the things. You got to be nice to everybody.
It costs you nothing, you know,
Exactly.
cost you
Yeah.
nothing to be kind to people. And
Yeah.
like that, it's like it shouldn't be your reason for it, but everybody does talk, and like
Yeah.
the those things trickle down and it has weight, with how small this industry is. Like just be kind, just be a kind person.
And you also don't know who, like, there was one actor who was in Mamma Mia who was a complete fucking dick to me once at a Mamma Mia party. And I was so devastated because I was such a huge fan of theirs. And then
Oh,
during the pandemic, I directed these virtual play readings, and I'm like, he would be really great for this, but I don't even want to send him an offer because he was such a dick.
fuck him. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he's gonna like he would have done it, but
Sure.
and like no, I was talking to somebody on the podcast once and they were saying because I mentioned the same thing, be nice. She goes, yeah, I was doing a show and somebody who did merch at a show I was working at was producing years later producing a cabaret at 54 Below, and they thought of me for it. You never know.
You never know. You
You never
never
know.
know.
No,
Especially, it's like, how long are you trying to be an actor? Your entire life? It's
no.
like you're gonna cross paths with all of these people again, over and over and over and over again. And actors and people in the industry, it's like we hold a grudge. We can do that, and we deserve to do that.
Yeah.
It's like you don't kick people while they're down. We should continually be lifting each other up and coming up together. That's what it's all about to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I no idea how we got here, but let's track back. Let's see. Shakespeare in
Okay.
the Park, wanting to do more straight plays. You were talking about something before American Psycho. What was before American Psycho?
We were talking. Oh gosh, we were talking straight plays, doing straight plays.
Yeah.
Um,
We get sidetracked a lot on this podcast. It's
that's
fine.
okay. That's
Yeah,
fine.
we're having a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I I was talking that we talked about the Esper Studio. I went there.
Yeah.
Then
I
after
like how
that,
you're figuring this out. I'm like, I'm just tired. Have
like,
fun.
I'm just tired. You
I
figure it out, guy.
like I
I'm
worked
figuring
my
it
9 to 5
out.
today. There you
Hey.
go. This is water, I promise, but still.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
don't know if I believe that, but clear liquor looks like water. Okay.
You know, it's true. I have a friend. I'm not a big drinker. I mean, it's my birthday this weekend, so I will be drinking.
Happy birthday.
I'm going out next weekend if you want to come.
Let's go.
Yeah, Oswald's Green. I like how I'm telling this on podcast. Let's
Yeah,
go. Who wants to
everyone.
join? Let's go. You could come, bring your wife. I don't care.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, bring everyone you know.
I mean, will this air like the day of your birthday?
No, it's actually airing next week, probably next Wednesday.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
then
so my birth we'll talk about it after. I don't want to like give out my whole life story on the podcast. And I mean, people, the tens of people who have listened already kind of know it, but still.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, anyway, total sidetrack. Um, I can't remember anything. This is going really well.
It's going great. Everything's
Yeah,
going great. We've been derailed for 1 second, but it's fine. I think we were right
yeah,
around the time of
yeah. So you
American.
were Esper Studio, figuring out your life. We were talking about wanting to do straight plays and how it's hard for musical theater people.
Yes, that's what we were
Yeah.
talking about. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, because
People
you were
who
saying
want to
like,
pigeonhole you into what you do. And
yeah.
so I was
And
doing
then you mentioned American Psycho.
only wanted to see me as a swing after I did that show because they're like, oh, he's at Broadway credit and he's a swing. That must be the only thing he does, you know. So there were appointments that came in that I turned down after Waitress. So I did audition for Waitress and I auditioned for the tour. I didn't get it.
Mhm.
And then I well, now I'm skipping ahead because
Yeah, I was
we
gonna say like American
we'll
Psycho.
go there, we'll go there.
I wrote down dates, sir.
Sure.
Look, I told you I did my research.
Paperwork is pulled out, ladies and gentlemen.
What?
Okay. Okay,
My
so
fa
we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
We should
I
go
always tell
straight
people
to
I do my research. I know what I'm talking about most of the time. Yeah, so fuck it. Let's just get into American Psycho.
let's
Oh
go
yeah,
there.
we were talking about Jordan Dean and Mamma Mia. That's how we went on this spiral of chaos.
The spiral of chaos.
Spiral of chaos on National Swing Day. So how did American Psycho come into your life? And I did steal um a Patrick Bateman card from one of the bars because I knew the
Amazing.
bartender
Oh yeah.
and there was like a card and like a styrofoam head, I think. And I was like, I'm just gonna take this card. He goes, go ahead.
Great.
I don't
Great.
know where that card is, but I have it or had it somewhere.
Listen, the card, it's bone, Lewis.
Yeah.
Um, it was a great experience. I that came into my life um while I was in this at the studio. So I was in hmm, I was in the middle of my second year there. And the audition came in. I ended up it was weird because they didn't know what they were doing. Like they were coming from the Almeida Theater
Mhm.
in London. They were gonna go to second stage, so we're auditioning for second stage. I
Mhm.
went in like 4 or 5 times for the production at second stage. It was like one of those experiences where you're like, oh, okay, like this definitely feels right for me. This is I mean, Duncan Sheik, I was like, I'm obsessed. Like that was like why I loved musical theater so much was because of Spring Awakening and his music in general.
Did you
Uh,
watch the documentary when it came out?
no, I haven't. I haven't even seen it yet. I know.
Been out for so many years. I
It was
cried
so
hysterically when I watched it. Came out
I know.
during the pandemic.
No, I know. Listen, there were so many things to watch. I just watched Tiger King 5 times in a row. That's what I did instead.
Really? Oh,
No,
you
not
know,
really.
you
Just
got
one
the
time.
beard. You can maybe, I don't know. Tiger King's kind of like gone now.
Yeah.
But
Oh no, that came and went. But oh, did it? It came in with a force for sure.
yeah,
Everybody was
yeah.
really they were all about the Tiger King.
But I will say, like a few months ago, I actually rewatched the documentary.
Really?
Yeah,
How was it?
it was great. Well, first of all, I'm a huge theater nerd, obviously.
Right.
And Spring Awakening was like college experience overload. And
Yeah.
it's just really wild to like relive those college
Deep
moments and
nostalgia, right? Deep,
sitting
deep.
on the stage and sitting next to Gerard while he was performing on stage and getting very distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, is wonderful. If you're a Spring Awakening fan, I highly recommend it.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
Mhm.
Um, But I just felt really good about that process. But then they were like, "Oh, now we're not going to go to second stage. We're going straight to Broadway,"
Mhm.
and we kind of restarted the audition process. So I think I ended up going in like 7 or 8 times, like by like my final audition.
We're just
Uh,
like, fucking book me already.
like, what's going on? Like, what are we doing?
Hmm.
Um, and I only had one suit. So I just like I felt like I showed up, twice a week in the same suit for so long. I
Did
was
you
like, this
change
is
your tie at least, or was
terrible.
it the same tie?
It was a plum suit.
Okay.
Plum suit, strong choice that I got when I was on tour in Korea with
I
American
would
Idiot.
also just like to say, especially for that show, a very strong choice.
Right. It was.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause for me, I was like, you know what? Like, bold choice to be remembered, I guess, for the initial choice of wearing it. And then when after like the fourth time, I was like, okay, this is too many times to wear the plum suit to a callback.
Please tell me
But
they said something to you about the suit.
they told me that the second time I went in, they were like, "Oh yes, the plum suit. We remembered." And I was like, "Score. That's great." And then no one said anything else ever again, like all the way up to my final callback. So I was like, "Yeah, this might be." Everyone's now realizing that I don't have another suit, and the only suit that I own is this plum one. So
Maybe that's why they were like, we should also hire him so he can afford to buy a new suit.
exactly for opening night, I did buy a new suit. So then I had two suits, toots.
Do you still
Um,
have the plum suit?
Oh yeah, I still fit in the
Okay.
plum suit. That's how I know that everything's okay because I still fit in my plum suit.
Excellent. All right, please continue the story of American Psycho.
Um, so that was just kind of a whirlwind experience. Getting a chance to I mean the
You were a
show.
standby for like four different roles, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for all the leads except for Patrick.
Hmm.
Um, And so that just was really cool. I was grateful to be like a fly on the wall in that experience of like creating an original musical, even though they had already done a production in London. There was a lot of changes that they were making. We changed a ton in the show. Even once we
Yeah.
started previews, we changed a
I was
ton.
trying to remember if they were going to bring Matt Smith over or if it was like always Benjamin Walker.
I don't know the answer to that
Yeah,
question.
I don't remember.
My gut tells me that he was never coming because
Yeah.
he was booked up doing UK film.
Mhm.
And I think they had been in talks with Ben to lead the production in America from the jump.
Yeah.
Um, but it was just so cool. It was so cool to see all these people who I had looked up to and had seen on stage, and be working with them, and also to not have like the pressure of needing to perform on day one. Just really getting a chance to absorb, soak it all in again. Like that's like sort of my has been my MO, my career, like make it to a new echelon of a space and then just like take in as much as I possibly can to try to learn as much as I can. And there were some real geniuses in that show, Helena York being one of them, just
Mhm.
like a comedic powerhouse.
Yeah.
Um, and just like watching performers work on the script and giving ideas on a script
Mhm.
was not something that I knew happened. It felt like that was like um only the director, only the writer's job, but it was so cool to watch these people like be like, oh, you know what, this feels better if I say this, or what if I did this, or what if I did that, and just like people being like, yeah, go with it, work with it. It was so cool to see for the first time, just like watching a thing get built. Everything I had done previously was like for American Idiot, for example, was like, let's consult the laptop that has the production of Broadway, and it's like, do what he did. It was very much like plug and play, be yourself, but we're doing this production. It was cool to watch the production being built around me while I was there. It made it incredibly difficult and so nerve-wracking to be a standby on because I'm trying to show up and like be there and write everything down and learn everything. And I'd spend an entire day writing something down. And then at the end, they'd be like, scrap it. We're actually cutting the whole song. And so I just stopped writing stuff down. I was like, I'm going to drive myself nuts trying to remember things. And then we change and change and change and change and change. So I just like sort of watched every day as much as I could. And then once the show was frozen and set, I prayed that nobody got violently ill so that I could take the next 3 days to just cram it all into my head.
And did that happen?
It did. I crammed it all into my head. I never had to go on. My fellow swing, Anthony Segaria, had to go on.
Mhm.
Um, But I never did. We had a very abrupt closing notice. I think we found out in the middle of the week that we were closing on Sunday. And I had dates to go on the next week. My family was all flying up to see me in the show. And I walked outside the theater and sobbed to my mom and said, "Don't come up. The show's closing." And I just remember thinking like I was like if I can get through this experience like because I loved that show and I loved working on it
Yeah,
and
I think it had didn't have like it had like a little bit of a cult following, I think.
it definitely did
Yeah.
like we had a lot of repeat people come back and just really were moved by the show and it just was like I love EDM, I love dance music, I love the 80s. I mean it
Mhm.
was so just it was a show for me, and to
Yeah.
be a part of something that really felt like it was cutting edge, it was pushing the boundary of what musical theater can be and
Mhm.
was so contemporary. I
Mhm.
was so proud to be a part of that. So it just we were all gutted when it closed so early.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was just there for Benjamin Walker. I just-
Not you were not the only one.
It's like,
You're
I don't care. I'm just here to see Benjamin Walker in his underwear. Like
That's
that's
right.
like I said it. I'm proud of that moment. Here we are.
It was a great moment. He looked great in the underwear, covered in
I
the
mean,
blood.
everybody, did anybody eat in that show? I mean,
There was eating, but there was like it was like almonds and bird food and like
yeah.
heads of lettuce, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, the Jordan Dean thing really quickly was that he played Sky in Mamma Mia.
Okay.
And there is a moment during like Leo, Your Love on Me where she like his shirt comes off.
Uh-huh.
And because he's so ripped,
So ripped.
the audience would have very different reactions.
No, no, no,
So
no,
there
no.
would be woos or nervous laughter or a
Uh-huh.
mix of both.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And when we were in the merch office, when that ever were to happen, that scene, we would all just like listen to what the audience reaction would be that night.
That's so funny.
It
Gosh,
was it was glorious.
it was glorious. I mean, the guy's so ripped. I have never felt scrawnier in my entire life than being in that room. I was like, oh my God, I gotta go to the gym immediately.
Well, I think they did like a Broadway.com video with him, like when he was in Mamma Mia, about
Oh yeah.
like him working out. Like that,
That
they're
sounds right.
probably
That sounds
in
like
the merch
Broadway.com
office, like
content.
crying with laughter. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, what did you say?
that sounds like Broadway.com content. We need a thirst trap here and there.
Yeah, why not? I just, why don't you post a photo with your water glass and that can be your thirst trap?
Oh, I'm trapping the thirst.
Yes, there it is. Hey.
Click, screenshot. We
Um,
got it. We got
yeah,
it.
should do a screenshot. I'll post that when I post the podcast. Thirst trap. Um, so sadly, American Psycho closed. Were you just in despair? Like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what happens next for you?
No, I
Because
think
Waitress was right after that, right?
it was because so we were rehearsing at the same time as Waitress. We opened like three, maybe 4 days before them. So, but I didn't book Waitress until like the following summer, August of 2017. We closed June of or July of 16. Psycho did. And so I luckily I didn't really go into like deep despair. I just was elated to have the credit. I was still in school at the Esper Studio, and that was like my primary focus. And I just had something to fall back on, something to still focus on and be doing, which and I loved it there. So I was very fortunate to have that
Mhm.
in my life at the time still. And also I was like, how old was I? 26. I'm 26. I got my first Broadway credit. I'm like, everything's great. Like, this is awesome. Let's just
Yeah.
keep on rolling. So I just, kept auditioning and auditioning and then I graduated from the studio. And then right after I graduated from the studio, I got the audition for the Waitress tour, which I didn't book,
Mhm.
but it was all of the swing material. So it was so much. It was like, pages and pages and pages of stuff to learn. But I loved it. I thought the music was great. The book was incredible. So it was fun to learn. It's always hard when, something's not very good and you've got to learn 15 pages of material. You like want to friggin' just throw it away. But that was not the case here. I loved it. I
Yeah.
didn't book it, which I was like, that's okay. And then with the last money that I had in my bank account, I bought a plane ticket to go to Colorado to see my friend who lived there. And then I got a call from my agents. They were like, "Hey, they want to see you for Broadway for the same position." And so I was like, "Great. Like I okay, like when is it?" And it was like the day before I flew out. And I went in for my audition. It went great. I had a great time. Lauren Latero is the choreographer, and
Mhm.
I worked with her on American Idiot, so I had that connection. And she wasn't in the room that day, but I just felt good knowing that I knew someone who was on the creative team. And I went in to Telsey and I did my audition, and they were like, "That was great. Can you be here on Friday or whatever for like the final callback?" And I was like, "To be honest with you," I was like, "Full disclosure, I cannot because I I bought a plane ticket to go to Colorado with the last money that I have, and I don't have the money to exchange my plane ticket. So I will be going to Colorado." And they were like really?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go." And they were like, "Okay, we're gonna film the audition." So they brought a camera in. I filmed the audition with them, and they were
Mhm.
like, "You like, could you be at a dance call?" And I was like, I'm not going to be in New York, but I really think that Lauren Latero would vouch for me, having worked with me on American Idiot. And if she wouldn't, then that's embarrassing for me, and you shouldn't cast me anyway. And they all laughed, and I laughed, and I left the room, and I got a phone call while I was in Colorado that I booked the job.
Amazing.
Yeah,
What was the material that you auditioned for Waitress?
it was Palmer stuff. So it
One more
was
time. Sorry, I coughed, so I couldn't hear what you said.
oh, it's okay. It was the Palmer stuff. That was like my main cover while I was there. And it only takes a taste.
Hmm.
It was the scene at the bus stop.
Hmm.
It was the first scene in the doctor's office when he meets her for the first time.
Hmm.
Then it was You Matter to Me, the song and the scene.
Hmm.
And then it was Earl's song and the scene where he finds the money before She Used to Be Mine.
Hmm. Like
And
how
then
you're telling me, like I don't know this. The amount of times I have seen Waitress. I was
true.
there. My friends and I were there. I think it's performance back, like the first musical to reopen Broadway. We were there. So we were
Oh,
part of the
cool.
standing ovation before the curtain even went up. So
That's
I
so
can actually vouch as an audience member that a random standing ovation happened before the show even started, before the curtain even went up.
that like makes me want to cry. I love that. And I love that that show was the first one to open back up after the pandemic. And it just like it was such an amazing experience to be on that show for as long as I got to be on it. I From 2017 to 2020, it was like I never felt like I was going to work ever.
Yeah.
I loved my job there. I loved everyone I worked with. I pinched myself every day I woke up. Loved that job.
Hmm. Now, you don't have to say who it is, but did you have a favorite Jenna?
I get this question a lot,
Mhm.
and it's so hard
Mhm.
to pick. I mean, I
Which is also
perform.
like really slimy that I asked that, but I like knowing things.
It's fine. You can know that. Like, or you can ask that. I performed with every single Jenna except for Jessie.
Hmm.
I only saw Jessie's performance, which was incredible.
Yeah.
And I love all of the Jennas that I worked with, and they all had individual strengths um,
Hmm.
that made them so fun to work with.
Yeah.
I have like a top three, but I'm not going to tell you.
That's fine. You don't have to.
Okay.
You can tell me after.
Okay, I'll tell you after.
Okay, great. Like privileged information. I can tell you a favorite thing of mine if you want to know what it is off
Okay.
podcast. All
Yeah.
right, think of it and I'll let you know. Great. Okay, so I'm trying to remember, did Waitress close before the pandemic or because of the pandemic?
It was like we got so lucky there. We closed before the pandemic,
Hmm.
not the pandemic. We closed January 5th
Hmm.
um, of 2020, and we all had a goodbye party, and we all got to hug and cry and kiss each other and say how great it was to work with each other. And and it was like very cathartic, and we needed to have that. Like I can't imagine not getting to have that experience with your company before you just so unceremoniously close 2 months after that. Less, no, it was like March what 17th, something like that. That
I don't know.
Broadway.
I just remember I used to concierge in hotels, and I remember specifically my last day was March 16th of 2020. And I only remember that because the next day was St. Patrick's Day and I was going to wear green. Like,
Right, there you go. My mom's birthday.
I'm sorry?
My mom's birthday, St. Patrick's Day.
Wonderful. Does she wear green all the time, or is just like it's not about that. It's about
It's not
her.
about that for her. She likes the day, but she's not about the green.
Yeah, it's about her. It's her birthday. I understand that. As we've learned, like I'm a big birthday person.
Yeah,
So
we like the birthdays. We value the birthdays around here.
yeah, it's the only time of year it's about me. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Anyway, so I'm waitress. So what did you do during the pandemic to keep
Wow.
to keep you sane?
I
That's a
watched.
question I get to ask now. It's
It's
crazy.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Like five years removed now. Crazy that it's been 5 years.
I
Uh,
it's I did a reading of The Shape of Things May of 2020 I directed, and I
wow.
still can't believe it was 5 fucking years ago. It's mind blowing to me.
Yeah. It feels like it was like 18 months ago and 20 years ago at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, But I watched a lot of TV and movies. I went on walks in my neighborhood. I never left New York. I was here the whole time.
Mhm.
Uh, and I played a lot of video games with my friends online, and that's how I stayed like in my community. I was very, very happy to have that. I was not like a big gamer before that, but I've like sort of fell in love with that, just like the community of it, getting to play online with my friends um and then I just like hung out with my fiance at the time. Not even. We were just dating at the time, but we'd been living together for a long time. So I was very fortunate to have my two cats and my partner who I love. And like I had my little tiny community in my home that we've like made really cozy and safe.
Mhm.
So I just relied on my little chosen family to get me through.
Were you one of those people who were like really worried whether or not this industry would come back? Were you worried about the career?
No, no. I was sort of disappointed because I really felt like I had a good momentum sort of building. I had good relationships with casting offices who I hadn't been in for before. I was getting good feedback on my auditions. Like waitress closing was something that like everybody was excited about. That like that chapter was coming to an end and now I was available to be there for other things. And so I just like I sort of felt like I had a lot of potential going into 2020. And that felt like it was stifled, obviously. But I was not one of those people that's like it's never going to come back or Broadway will never come back or any of that. I honestly assumed it was going to take like 2 or 3 years. I didn't know it was going to take this long to like really start to get the thing rolling, but I was fully prepared for it to take some time before it felt like things were starting to move in the direction that we wanted to.
Yeah. My biggest thing was then I would have conversations with different actors that I was working with at the time. I was curious to know what ticket pricing was going to be like when
Yeah.
it was reopened, and it's pretty much the same and or more.
Yeah, it's definitely more. I I also just was hoping that I don't know, just in general, people were going to be like more thoughtful and kinder to each other, in within like the service industry, let alone within, the community. And I don't know if we got all of that either, but
No. But Broadway's back. We have that at least, right?
back, we
It's
appreciate.
back. Yes. So Waitress 2.0. Let's talk about that. How did that
Yeah,
come to you? Were they just like, we're
2.0.
just going to bring back all of the people we like,
Yeah, yeah. So
reopen it on Broadway?
they brought back like most of the original company,
Mhm.
and then they were trying to do it with just one swing. Um, and they did the taping, and then they I don't know why they had less coverage in during a global pandemic, but that's what they did. And And so everybody was like, we need more coverage because we're all sick or we can't, we need to be out, blah blah blah. And eventually they brought me back on like 2 months after opening in the middle of October to rejoin the company as my original role and as a swing to be the second swing there.
Yeah, that's great. So once Waitress 2.0 is over, let's talk about what most recently people are obsessed with, Swept Away.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So you did Berkeley, you did Arena Stage. How did Swept Away come into your life? Were you always an Avett Brothers fan?
I was not actually, which is funny because I love folk music.
Mhm.
I just I'd never heard of them, which is also funny because they're so prolific. They have so many albums, been making music for so long. I don't know why my algorithm didn't send them my way, but um, I had auditioned for the show in 2020, uh, and listening to the music and reading the book and being just a huge fan of John Logan, Michael
So let's
Mayer.
talk about that quickly because I don't think a lot of people know that the album is based on a book originally.
It's based on yeah, it's based on a book.
Mhm.
They wrote a concept album in 2006, I think, or 7 called Mignonette. That's the name of the ship that actually crashed in the late 1800s. And it's a story of survival of the a few of the crew members and the cabin boy, and they ended up having to eat the cabin boy to survive. It really happened. It didn't happen in the way that we took some artistic liberties in our show, but they survived for 24, 26 days at sea with no food or water. It was an incredible story of survival.
Mhm. Yeah, so please continue having.
Yeah, yeah. So I just was very moved by the piece and just again like the same way that I felt in Psycho, being like this is pushing the envelope
Mhm.
so far. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if even this can be done, but I want to be a part of it. And it didn't go my way. I didn't get it in 2020, and then obviously it didn't go anybody's way because they pushed it and pushed it and pushed it, and then fortuitously, Waitress closed prematurely. 2.0 closed prematurely. We were supposed to go until the end of January or February, I believe, was the limited run. We ended up closing middle of December um, because of COVID, and I got a phone call. I got a phone call when I got back to New York after being in Texas for the holidays that said, "Could you be in California tomorrow?" They need an immediate cover to join the company of Swept Away. And I had a panic attack and I called my fiance at the time, and she was not living with me at the time because she was down in DC doing a contract. Um, and I was like, what do I do? Like, who's gonna take care of the cats? Who's gonna take care of the house? And she was like, well, we're gonna figure it out. You absolutely have to go on this contract. She's like, you love this show. You loved this thing so much. Remember, you have to go. I was like, absolutely. You're so right. I called them back. I'm like, I'm going. I packed my bags. I was on a flight the next day. I was in Berkeley, California the next day. Uh, Went straight to the theater and to join rehearsal there in the middle of tech, and I got to see this thing that I've been, dreaming about for 2 years at that point. And I remember going home to my hotel and being like, is that the greatest thing I've ever seen? I don't know. And then I woke up the next morning, I was like, yeah, it definitely is. I think it definitely is. Like this is so crazy. I don't know that it's gonna actually work, but this is the best thing that I've ever seen. Um, as far as a musical goes, bar none.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just like I again like pinching myself every day. I showed up. I had to learn both those tracks. I was an offstage cover at the time, so I covered Big and Little Brother there, and I had to learn those tracks in like 3 or 4 days, and I just stayed up all night and just learned them. And it was easy because of how great the material was and how fun it was to learn, and I had such a good time, even though we were living like monks there. Um, Berkeley was very depressing in a lot of ways. Like it was so fun to be working on this particular piece, but the piece is dark inherently in itself, and they were just dark days too. I think everybody was very on edge because of Omicron, and we were like, if one person gets sick, then everybody could get sick. There were only 8 onstage company members at the time, so we were just
Oh.
very hyper aware and cautious of what we were doing at the time. So we didn't it didn't it felt like we were trauma bonded, those of us who did that production in Berkeley. And I think honestly, like that's part of what made the show so good was creating theater in a time that was so like anti coming together. It was just like so it just felt so impossible. It felt so like how are we doing this? We're doing it in the face of all this opposition. Like we really did it, and I think made something really special. And that's what made we carried that heart through the next two productions as well, I think.
Yeah. So you were with it the whole time. What arena stage was next? How did that, were they just like, oh, we're doing arena stage now? Wasn't there, what was the time difference or the time difference? Oh my God. The time, it's been a long day.
The
Uh,
time difference works. That works for me. I
yeah,
can
sure. The
totally.
time difference, like time is an illusion. The time frame. There we go.
It was Arena Stage was the fall of that same year.
Okay.
But we closed, was it? No, I don't even know. I think it was the
I
fall
don't
of the.
have the dates written down. It's fine.
Yeah. If not, it was a year, like 1 year later.
Yeah.
I think the intent was, I mean, everybody was like wanting to go straight to Broadway. I'm not sure what was said behind closed doors between producers or things. I think that people wanted to see if we could flesh out another run and see what could happen.
Yeah.
So ultimately we ended up at Arena Stage, which I mean was a dream theater for me. I like of all the regional theaters that I could perform at. It's like high up on my list of places that I wanted to go. So I was really happy to get to do a contract there. They were wonderful to us. And I loved the theater. It was beautiful. It was a perfect size for our show. It was very intimate. Um, and Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to do a show that I had already done.
Mhm.
Um,
Were you on, they fleshed out the cast. It was bigger.
Yeah, so it was bigger. So we added there were 12 on stage members there. And so I got bumped up to being in the ensemble proper there while still covering those two roles. And so it was so fun to feel I felt confident. I had good relationships with all the people who I was working with creatively. I had some agency. I felt like I was kind of like an upperclassman, in the with some freshmen.
Yeah.
And it was fun
It was
to.
like a cool feeling, like,
Yeah,
"Hey, what's up, guys? You have any questions? Let me know."
absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
and just to like be like, I know what we're doing. I
Mhm.
know like what we're after, and I know that we're on like a bit of a crunch timeline. So to know the material so well going into the start of a process was like the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
It's like having the majority of the answers to the SAT before you go to take it, like to
Yeah.
just be like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna enjoy myself, and I did. And and the people that we added to the show were amazing, like great performers. And
Mhm.
we brought everybody from that production, barring a company member, but we like the majority of company members came from DC to New York with us. And like I was so happy that they did that. Because we hired people on as DC local hires, and I was worried that they might replace those people when we went to New York. And so it just was really cool to see um, how like dedicated our creative team was to rewarding these people who had taken the time to join the show and out of town and bring them to New York with us.
Yeah. I remember speaking with Matt DeAngelis and I was like, so it's much way Broadway. He's like, I don't know. I'm like, I feel like you'll do it on Broadway. And then when I saw the show and I saw him after, I was like, didn't I tell you?
I
But
told.
in fact, he told me, which was really cool, was that you guys added wind, which you didn't have in DC.
Yeah, yeah. We added the wind. We had a lot more like color to the lighting rigs. So we had more like nuanced lighting effects, which were fun.
Yeah.
Um, we I'm trying to think. The boat got bigger. It got more sturdy. They completely rebuilt the boat. It looked just like the one in DC, but it was 2 feet wider on either side, and it was like super reinforced. So you could swing and jump on every single part of it, as opposed to DC. You're like, maybe I'm going to be a little bit more careful on this rope here. So it felt like a gigantic adult dangerous jungle gym in on Broadway.
So what were you like, we're going to Broadway? When did the announcement come? How did you know you were going?
Um, the announcement came, we nobody knew. Nobody knew. We just were kind of like we had rumors and like we talked to some people on the creative team and they'd be like, "I'm gonna see you soon." And wink, wink. And you're like,
Well,
"What
I
does
would
that
just like
mean?"
to say for the record, as someone who, as I said, is a fan of John Gallagher, also a fan of Star Sands, knowing who was doing it and how long they have worked on this show, there was no way that was not coming to Broadway.
I listen, I agree. That's what my heart of hearts was telling me, but I've been burnt before.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I will say, like, when I was thinking about what theater it was going to go into, never thought of the Longacre. In my head, it was always the Broadhurst or the Booth for some reason.
yeah, yeah, I think the Broadhurst was definitely an
Yeah.
option. It ended up being one of our higher options. I know that I think we really wanted to go into the Golden, but they really only put plays in there. But I think that was our number one.
Operation Mincemeat is going in there. Just saying.
It is. That was our target theater, I
Mm.
believe. But we ended up in the Longacre, and I loved the size of the theater. I thought it was like perfect for our show. And I found out when the Avett Brothers announced at their show and Forest Hill Stadium. It went viral on the internet, and I said, "Oh, I guess we're going to Broadway," which was a funny way to find out, but it was a cool way.
Yeah. How was the first on stage role for you on Broadway?
Um, God, it was great. I loved it. I loved getting a chance to like really do the 8 shows a week, um, and feel like I was really a part of the company, the ensemble. I always felt that way when I was swinging, but there's just something, different about being on stage and doing the thing with everybody every night. Like at Waitress, I got my reps in. I probably did uh 5 or 6 shows a week at least, like the majority of the time that I was there in one of my 7 tracks that I covered.
Mhm.
um but I never it
You
was my
posted a
first
lot
time.
of yourself as Pomander, I will say.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of Pomander posts.
I was very, very fortunate that Drew Gehling had an incredible year for film and television. Shout out Drew, way to work so that I could jump in and get some reps in there because I loved doing that role. It was so fun.
Mhm.
um But yeah, yeah, getting a chance to like be in the show and be in the ensemble and really get to like like feeling like I had ownership over the track. I'm like, this is my track. It's not, Law's track or Tyrone's track or Drew's track that I'm like filling into. I'm like, I get to make the choices. I've built this character. I've like really gotten to like claim some ownership over this piece of art. Felt so good. It felt really, really good. And to get to do it on this show was a dream.
I will say one of well, not one of my favorite moment of the show is when John Gallagher sings like Devil in My Head.
Oh yeah.
You guys all crawl out.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, the
so
smoke.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're down there huffing that smoke for like 2 or 3 minutes before
Yeah.
we go out there.
Oh, it's so, and I will say, because again, as I keep mentioning, I'm a very big John Gallagher fan, and I've seen him in a lot of stuff. I've never seen him in a role like that before. So it was really nice to see something different. And that song, I only did merch there like 3 or 4 times, but every time I would like sneak upstairs to just watch that one specific song and then like go back.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah, I did see the
Yeah,
show though. I had the worst cold, but I'm like, I have a ticket to see this show and I'm going.
and up and I'm going, baby.
Yeah. And I'm friends with one of the box office people. So she saw where I was sitting and she looked at my ticket. She's like, no, you're good. You have a good seat.
Oh, that's
And she
awesome.
would have given me an updated one. But thanks, TDF.
Thank you, TDF. We
Yeah.
appreciate you, TDF.
Yeah. No, it
Yeah,
was
Johnny's performance in that is it's arguably the best I've ever seen. It's one of the like the consistency, like all the way from Berkeley through DC through Broadway. Like he just brought it every single night. I mean, the guy is he's unbelievable and in my opinion deserves a Tony for it. And it was really cool to get to watch him develop the role over 3 separate productions because it changed, as he changed. Um, and it always got like deeper, more nuanced, more interesting. He just is like he's always, working on the moments, developing the things, like asking like what's working, what's not. He's just very he's just an actor's actor, like you just want to talk to him all day about what's going on, what was he thinking, what was this like, what was that like. He's very generous with like his thought process and his working process.
So, do you have any favorite moments of working on Swept Away?
Yeah, yeah. I think probably, I mean, my favorite moments were when I got to go on for Big Brother. Um, there was a specifically probably my closing show in California. Um, just like how kind everyone was to me, and how generous everyone was with me on stage, feeling like I'm doing this leading role with people who I like deeply like genuinely have looked up to for years. And um to be a contemporary with those people was like very much a benchmark moment for me in my life, and just my acting career. And then getting to do it again in DC, having like a year to kind of marinate with it and sit with it, and really feeling like I got to bring some of my best stuff to it then, and feeling like confident about what I did when I only got, two or three shows, and just where you feel like you're shot out of a cannon. And when you cover stuff, it's so hard to leave yourself alone and not, nitpick every moment, and like look at yourself while you're doing the thing to be like, am I supposed to be there? Am I supposed to be there? Like it's so hard to like enjoy the experience because you're so focused on what you're doing. And so I just was very proud of myself for my time in DC, because I really just had the best time doing it. I wasn't worried about where I was supposed to be or what I was doing. I was really just like there and performing with these guys. And it was like top three like performance moments of my entire life, I think, as far as like feeling good about what I was doing, and how much I was enjoying the moment.
Yeah. So, I kind of hate bringing this up, but the premature closing of Swept
Yeah,
Away.
absolutely. It's okay. We got to talk about it. It's the
I
elephant.
know it's, I'm like, ooh. So that was wild. Do you want to talk about it and then your extension and how it should have extended till the end of into the new year, but it didn't?
Yeah. Um, I don't know how much I can or can't say. I'll be as discreet as I possibly can.
You can be discreet on podcasts and then you can just let it all out when we're done recording.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's what we'll do. Um, the premature closing was absolutely devastating. There's really no words to describe how unbelievably disappointed I think all of us were. Um, Especially the nature of us closing. I think we were all very surprised because it seemed like we were doing very well. We were selling, 75%, 80% houses some nights 90, 95, like we weren't selling super poorly. Um, and so I think all of us were kind of shocked as to where the money was, why we would have come if we weren't able to like get through what was the impending slow months of January, February. And also, that we're not doing a show that has original IP like Back to the Future or Wicked that you can rest on. We're doing a completely original musical. Like you've got to have some gas in the tank to build your following, your fan base, your grassroots. It's not enough to have a couple, a Tony winner, Tony nominee, like unbelievable actors. That's great, but like you got to have enough time and enough money in the budget to advertise and do, everything you need to do. So I don't, know exactly, what happened, but I do know that we were all surprised. And especially after our opening night, getting the New York Times Critics pick, I think we all felt like we were pretty safe for at least, a couple months. Um, and so this was I had said earlier, like after my experience with American Psycho closing, I really had told myself then I was like, if you can get through this, like how painful this is, you can get through anything. And then Swept Away happened.
Yeah,
And
I
I was
was
like,
like,
oh,
oh, should I bring this up now or I'll wait?
no,
Yeah,
no, no,
that
no.
was, mhm.
It just like that, it really was that. I was like, oh shit, like this is worse. This is way worse. Um, I just really I really believe in this piece of art. I stand by it. Like even with the premature closing, I don't think it closed prematurely because it wasn't good. I think it's excellent. It's I've never been more proud to be a part of anything. Um and um and I think that's why it hurt so bad. Because I just really believed in it, and I've never had a company like this that just like the camaraderie, the brotherhood,
Mhm.
the genuine belief that we all had in this thing and in each other, and we lifted each other up. We just went through a lot together, and especially when you think about how long the journey was, 3.5 years of
Yeah,
building this thing, it just felt like it was like a punch in the gut, it just really was surreal. It's still surreal. I'm still not accepting it emotionally. I think I'm just pushing it off until May,
yeah.
June.
Oh, is something happening then?
No, I've just like
Oh,
need 6 months to fully process what's happening.
yeah. Well, I will say, I was like, should I wear my swept away hoodie or like, is that in bad taste? But I did
No,
anyway.
you wear it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
wear it with pride. You
Yeah,
wear it with
I
pride.
will tell you like that merch because I think somebody told me like they had a tattoo artist design some of the stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was honestly it was great merch. Sorry, my chair is
They
terrible.
did such a good job with the merch and with the artwork for the front of the theater. They did a great job with that.
Which I would like to say as of today, you now live in Matt DeAngelis's closet.
I do. I do. I am trapped in Matt DeAngelo's closet. Please send help.
Oh no. So but then you guys got an extension. Let's continue talking about that. So
Yeah,
because it was such like that's how you know like when the community comes together.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You want to talk
It
more about
was,
that?
yeah, for sure. I'd love to. I'm like so moved by the support that we got from our local people, our people in the industry, people who thought they were going to be able to, buy a ticket in January, February, or see it in May. Like they all of a sudden we called upon them and they answered and in a big way, and I'll say like for the first couple performances, it hurt actually, to have the houses sold out immediately for that first week that we announced that we were closing, and um it was painful. I was so happy to have everybody there, but it just was I'm like, ah, like where was this before? Like why weren't we getting this before? I was so grateful to see them show up and show out, and the energy that we got from those audiences for those final 3 weeks were I'll never forget it. Every single night
Mm,
people really brought it, and that's what made it um feel like it was palatable to close. It didn't feel like we were actually dying. It was to go out as a hit show and have people come and see it and be moved and be genuine and be there to support us. I saw so many friends I hadn't seen in so long who came out to support me, to support the show, other people they knew in the show, and it just meant so much to have them there and to just share it with people. I've been doing this thing for 3.5 years. I was so excited to share this thing with I felt like I had the best secret ever. Like this is the coolest thing. I just can't wait for all of my people to see it, and I was gutted that we didn't run longer, but I was so happy that so many people did come out and get a chance to see it.
yeah. I'm remembering now when I was at the stage door after I saw it, I was waiting for Matt to come out to say hi to him. And then my friend is an usher and she was working across the street and she came over to say hi. And then I saw you at the stage door and I was like, oh, I'm not going to introduce myself. Like, he doesn't, it's no big deal. And then you asked my friend to take a photo for you. I don't know why I remember
That's
that.
funny.
It was like,
I,
oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
who that was. It might have been my friends from American Idiot.
I
Or
I have no idea.
well, that's well, thank you. Thanks. Shout out to your friend for taking that photo for me. I
Yeah,
really
thanks, Elizabeth.
thanks, Elizabeth.
Yeah, what? But exciting. I mean, as sad as it is that Swept Away has closed, you guys, you have the cast album coming out.
Yes.
So talk about making a cast album, being on an original Broadway. I'm going to say it slowly for you. An original Broadway cast album. Talk to me about it. Tell me everything.
Um,
Fireworks. Poo, poo, poo.
it was it was such a bucket list thing, right? It's like something that I like think back of like Brandon in college being like, that would be so cool. There's no way that ever happens, you know? I just like never in my wildest dreams, honestly, thought that that was something that I was ever going to get the opportunity to do.
Mhm.
So to get to do it on this show was like, phew, it was a dream, and it was so fun to go into an awesome recording studio and record something that you could do in your sleep. Like, I've never been more prepared to sing in a studio ever, which was so nice to go
Mhm.
in and not be nervous or worried. Like I'm like, I know these cutoffs, I know these notes. I've been singing this for 3 years. Like I am ready for this. And so it just was like it just was so much fun. And to get to focus on everybody's voices again.
Mhm.
Um and have that be the only thing that we're worried about and listening to was it just was a reminder of how unbelievable this music is, how great of songwriters the brothers are, and how what a genius orchestrator and arranger Brian Yusufer and Chris Miller are. Just like what they did with this music is unreal, and I'm just so like you said, you know, like the premature closing, it
Mhm.
would have been horrific had we not recorded this album because I think this is something that people will really listen to
Yeah.
um and be like, where is that show? You know, like what's and like who knows what can happen once an album comes out. I don't, you know, I don't think another Broadway run, but I think it definitely gives it clout for a possible tour. Like I think it keeps it in the conversation of the show not dying because I do feel like somewhere
Mhm.
that the show is not done. I think it has
Mhm.
another life in it in some capacity. I don't know what that is or where it is,
Mhm.
but it just feels unfinished. I
Yeah.
think everybody who is associated with it creatively feels unfinished with
Mhm.
it, and I would love to see something happen with it. So the impending album coming out, I think is very exciting.
Yeah.
Either way, we're all so proud of it. So proud of it.
Well, I just had a guttural instinct that I'm sure you guys will reunite for something for this cast album. I mean, you guys are doing the saloon sessions monthly now at Hurley's, so maybe that'll turn into a thing when the album
Yeah, I
coming
think we're definitely going to do a listening party of sorts, and then maybe we do something with it outside of that. I don't know, but I think we're all really excited about getting together and sitting down and listening to it.
Yeah. So I will like jumping back on the cult, not the cult thing, like getting momentum of like people wanting to see the show repeatedly. I just remember again when I was at the stage door waiting for Matt to come out, I overheard someone say like, "Oh, you're back." So I was like, "There you go. You already have your people seeing the show like 20 million times already." And I
That's
saw it in
cool.
previews.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we
Yeah.
had people come back, you know, 25 times. We had somebody who like moved from Korea to like live in DC for like 2 months while we were there and saw the show like 60 times. Um we
They have
had
the money,
I
man.
I know. I'm like, what? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Um, we had such strong support and like in our fans, like our super fans of the show were unbelievable. The commitment that they had to come in to see it, the amazing things that they made us at the stage door. I have ornaments on my tree that I'm gonna have for the rest of my life. Like unbelievable.
Do you still have the swept away boat up there?
Yeah. Oh, I definitely have the swept away boat up there.
Because we have met when I did merch. I was there when you bought the boat.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and I introduced myself. I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. We have a mutual friend."
Oh
Is it
yeah.
ringing a bell?
Yes, you were with me when I bought my boat.
And I was like, is Stark showing everybody? Because he literally just bought it.
That's what happened. Yeah, he walked upstairs and he was like, "Look at my boat." I was like, "They're selling that down there. I have to have that."
And then the room was like, it floats. And there was like an Instagram account about
Oh
Swept
yeah, the low
Away.
boat,
Yeah, I
low boat.
yeah, I have no idea. Um,
I don't know about these things either,
I
but
don't
they
either. I mean,
love.
I have two Instagram accounts and like my podcast and my personal one. I don't know what anything is. So anyway, so yes, you have ornaments that people made you. Were like of yourself in the show?
No, like
Oh,
they're just like homages to the show. Like I've got one that's like this beautiful clear orb that has like snow inside of it, and on the outside of it, it has like in the that glitter that gold glitter font that's on the hoodie. It says "Swept Away" on.
that's cute. As I like look at my hoodie.
Yeah,
Well, I
and
think
then
we just gave away what hoodie I'm wearing then.
oh, oops, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's a zip up. It's fine. People can know. It's fine.
you can have one. She has the black zip up hoodie with the golden
Yeah,
font.
that's right. It's a fucking good hoodie and I love it. And I will not get rid of this one.
Never, don't do it.
No, I'm
It's
not
gonna
going
be
to.
it's gonna be infamous. People are gonna be like, "Oh my God, you saw that show?" You'd be like, "Yeah, I did."
Yeah, and we talked about it on the podcast. That's why.
That's right.
Hmm.
But it has like a little playbill in there that says "Swept Away" with
Hmm.
like with and all the little snow. It's really, I mean, people were very creative in the things that the gifts that they made for us, and I
Yeah.
just I love our fans for our show so much. They're incredible.
Let's talk about saloon sessions then really quickly. If we're talking about fans and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Did
absolutely.
what, how did, so because you guys were closing, there was a lot of social media going around. And I have to say there was one really great video of like kind of a full house opening with all of you guys.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That was excellent.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rika LeBron was our social media like captain at work, and he was a genius,
Hmm.
um, and just was so good about like, hey, these are the trends, these are what people are doing, and when we were trying to sell out those final 2 weeks, we just hit it hard. We took over the reins as the company, and we started making posts and posting them ourselves
Yeah.
through the account and through our accounts and coordinating like targeted times to post. We all of a sudden were social media managers on top of being actors,
Yeah.
and it was so fun. We had a great time. Just like we showed up early. We get to the theater, an hour and a half before the show instead of half hour, and we'd make content and then do our job. And then after, I think through doing that, we we were just like we enjoyed being creative with each other.
Mhm.
Um, and Matt came up with the idea of us doing a residency at Hurley's.
Yeah.
Um, and that was something that he had always wanted for us to do while we were running. We were going to do like
You
Sunday
guys were
nights.
frequent
So,
visitors at Hurley's, correct?
oh, yeah, that was our local
Yeah.
watering hole for
Yeah, I
sure.
think after the show, I walked him to Hurley's and then I walked home. Yeah.
They're so good to us there. We love Paul and Ann, the owners of Hurley's. It's just it's an amazing bar. It's the best Midtown bar. Um, and they took such good care of us. I loved that we were right next door to them. Another just painful part of the closing. Um, but yeah, so the intention was always to do some sort of residency there where we would do shows, two on Sunday, go over, drink, hang out, sing, and then have Monday off. Um, and then when the show closed, he was just like, "We're gonna still do this, and we folded in the Janice Jam, his charity,
Yep.
um, to raise money for breast cancer awareness,
Mhm.
um, and it's just been
For those listening, we
like
do have Matt on the podcast. We haven't,
oh,
yeah.
good,
I
yeah,
interviewed him about Janice Jam. So,
yeah.
yeah, for
So
those
it's
listening
just
can listen to his podcast again. And I told him he's invited back anytime to talk about it. So,
great,
do it
great,
again. Who knows?
yeah. So it's just been the first one went great. It went really,
Yeah.
really well, and we just like we were looking for opportunities to still be with each other and make something together because we really just love each other. So it's been really fun to work
Yeah.
on. I think I'm excited about what happens next month.
You want to shout out the Instagram for saloon sessions?
Yeah, it's at Saloon Sessions, Hurley Saloon Sessions.
I
If
have
you
no idea what I just if there's
search,
an
I
Instagram.
don't know it off the top of my
Hold
head.
on, let's take a
Search.
moment. Like
Okay.
talk amongst yourselves. La da 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 da. Now I had to open Instagram to find it. Hold on. Guys, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Let's see who can find it first. Saloon. I
Found
found
it.
it. Okay, it's the Saloon Sessions on
The
Instagram.
Saloon Sessions on Instagram.
The
Check
Saloon
it out.
Session. Yes. I'll follow it. There we go. Boom.
I'm
Done.
gonna follow.
I just gave it a follow. You're welcome.
Hey, thanks.
Of course, that's what I'm here for. You guys should come on next time to talk about it. We'll do a
That sounds
podcast
great.
episode about Saloon Sessions.
Okay,
I like how you think I'm joking. I'm not.
great. I'm
Do it.
down. Let's do it.
Yeah, we can do like a live one. We'll sit at Hurley's and be like, yo, what's up? I don't know how to do a live podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean they do those, so we can figure that out.
Yeah, they do. I haven't done an in-person podcast since I was in London like a year and a half ago. So
Oh, who'd you do your in-person podcast with in London?
they did a revival off West End of a play of The Shape of Things.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I've worked with LaBute. I have a really good relationship with him. So I reached out to the theater and I was like, hey guys, can I interview these people? And it's actually to this date the most listened to episode I have because one of the cast members of that play is Colin Bridgerton in Bridgerton.
Ah, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So I got to interview Mr. Colin Bridgerton along with the rest of the cast, and I sat directly next to him during my session, and everybody was lovely. And it
Oh,
was
that's
my
so nice.
last full day in London, so it was like a nice way to like end my trip.
Oh God, that sounds great.
It was fucking
On a
awesome.
high note.
Yeah. And then I like went out, had a really great dinner and walked around and went back to my hotel.
Oh, good. Good food in London? Crazy.
Sure.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Anyone who's from
No, I
London.
don't even remember. I had because the hotel I was at was like literally right next to Chinatown. So I think I just got like dumplings.
Oh yeah,
And then
perfect.
I went to Primark for the 80th time.
Primark is the best
Yeah.
of the UK. We love Primark. And then now they're here all of a sudden. You
Yeah.
thought it was like the hack of going over there, but now you
No, they
got a
have
Primark
one.
in Jersey and Queens. You got them everywhere.
There's one on Long Island.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah,
about
yeah.
12. I'm from Long Island, so I know these things.
Oh, nice.
Hmm. Not from Texas. Sorry. Do they have in Texas?
No, no,
No.
no, no. Not that
Okay.
I know of.
Maybe they should start a trend.
Maybe they should. Maybe I'll co-open, I'll co-pro the
Yeah.
first Primark in Texas, and really just that will be what sets my career off, I think.
Yeah. I will say I did not have Nando's when I was in London. I heard a lot about Nando's, did not eat it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have Nando's either, but people do talk about Nando's.
Yeah. But I did have those like oh my God, what's that market? Why can't I think of it? Borough Market with the strawberries with the chocolate that was like all over Instagram.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had those.
We'll go back to London and we'll sit down and do a live podcast over some Nando's.
Oh my God, can we? Let's do it. I tomorrow. I would move there if I could.
My sister-in-law lives there.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so cool. No, we'll
Yeah.
we'll go visit her. We'll stay with her.
Perfect. Yeah, she's got a beautiful flat.
Perfect. I love how they call it flats.
I would
Oh,
say flat. Can't say
yeah,
apartment. You can't say
yeah.
it.
No,
All
I
the
had
people
to.
who listen to the podcast be so upset with me if I called a London
Yeah,
apartment an
yeah.
apartment.
They call it lifts, not elevators.
You got to get on the lift.
Yeah. They call it a holiday, not a vacation.
Go on holiday. You're gonna go on holiday.
Oh,
Take the
can you do accents?
um. I'm okay. I'm fine at some,
Hmm.
um, but not like perfect.
Okay.
I do like accents.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm all right. Yeah,
For breaking that out. That was delightful. I appreciate that.
my pleasure.
Yeah. So I do want to talk really quickly because again, in my deep dive of your Instagram,
Uh-huh.
I noticed that you're also and also your website that we've talked about before.
Yes,
Um,
don't go there
don't go to his website.
until I fix it. But who knows if that's ever gonna happen? So maybe just go and you can
I
laugh.
don't even think your Facebook is updated because I went on there to see like who
Definitely
our
not.
mutual people were. I was like, oh,
Facebook is
we have 68 mutual friends.
Facebook is for boomers who are conspiracy theorists now.
How dare you? I posted today on Facebook about my podcast, and then it was
I'll
like,
get on and I'll poke you.
And there was like a mini reunion of like everybody I went to elementary school with about
Oh,
the person I interviewed for my podcast.
well, that's nice. I
It was
like that.
very funny. Anyway, singer-songwriter. You play guitar, you play banjo, you play mandolin, right?
I do. I dabble in the banjo and mandolin. I'd
I
say
will
that
say, when
I
I
do.
read this, I had a thought. I was like, we need to get him into a production of once.
That's that when you asked about like dream shows, that was definitely my guy in once is a dream role of mine. Far like
Work
far.
on that Irish accent, sir.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah. My one of my dream roles is Caitlin Carney in The Ferryman.
Oh God, that play is so good.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness.
I
The
saw
last
it.
2 minutes of that play, my jaw hurt from being on the floor so long. I was like, ow, ow,
How many times did you see it?
twice.
Me too. I,
Really?
yeah, we're the same person, clearly, with us going to
Seriously.
like
Hey,
Pace, not knowing anything.
2 times at the ferryman, you're the same person.
We're the same person. I mentioned once at The Ferryman, we're done. I don't look like Paul Rudd, and you do.
That's well, that's true. You don't want to look like Paul Rudd.
I don't, but you can look like. I'm
I would
not
love
gonna lie to you. There are moments during this interview where I'm like, he looks so much like Paul Rudd. It's kind of unnerving. But that
to.
could just be me, and everybody could be like, she's fucking insane that she thinks that. But it's
Well,
fine
if you're a casting director out there and you're listening to this podcast and you need a young Paul Rudd for
with the
something,
beard.
you call me up. I will shave the beard off if I need to play young Paul Rudd. I'll do it happily.
Why not?
Why not?
They can do another production of Clueless somewhere with you as well. I think they changed the character up a little bit. I think they made
Yeah,
him nerdy.
that's fine.
Yeah. But anyway, The Ferryman, you saw it twice. I saw it twice as well, and I got a better seat the second time I saw it.
Oh yeah.
I was like third row or something,
Yeah,
but of
that's one
course,
of those where if you're right there, you're getting a completely different show than the people in the balcony.
yeah,
Um, it was, I mean, the like the nuance of like the tiny little things that people were doing in the acting. It's just brilliant. Jez
yeah,
Butterworth, I mean, his writing is so good, and I love that like he and his wife work together all the time. I think it's so cool.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'm a fan. I did not see Hills of California though. I didn't see it.
I
It's
did.
okay. Okay. Well.
Yeah, but the second time I saw The Ferryman, I knew it was going to happen, but I was still so shocked by it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. I yeah, I can't speak more highly about that show. I loved it.
Yeah, but anyway, getting back to you playing Guy in Once.
Yes.
Did you see it on Broadway? Let's just talk about Once. I can talk
Yeah,
about Once and Great Comet and Light in the Piazza. Those are my three favorite musicals of all time.
amazing.
I I always tell people like I have my computer on two coffee table books, and one of them is the Great Comet coffee table book.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I'm like, did you see Once on Broadway? How do you know about
Yeah.
that show?
I saw once, twice.
Mhm.
Haha. But yeah, simple hit. I saw once, twice. I saw the original company the night before the Tonys, and I stage doored it, and I cried to Steve Kazee and told him that, and Kristen Milioti, that they were both going to win the Tony because they are so good, and they were like, Shh, don't say that. You're going to jinx us. And I was like, I'm sorry. I have to say it because it was like that's like top three performances I've ever seen on Broadway. The two of them together were unbelievable. The entire company, the ensemble was, oh God, I just could talk about that show forever. I love the music. Um, and then I saw it again like a year and a half later with the entirely new company with Paul Nolan as Guy. And I just love the show. I think it's brilliant. I wanted to do the tour so bad. I wanted to do the show on Broadway so bad, but it just the timing never worked out as far as me being available for auditions when they were doing them, or I never went in. So it's the one that got away for sure.
I love telling my one story, so I will tell you. I got a flyer in the mail for New York Theater Workshop to see it, and I have been a fan of Steve Kazee since I saw him in Spam-A-Lot.
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't buy a ticket to this show, I will never see it.
Yeah.
And I went on a matinee and I did something I have never done, nor will, who knows if I'll ever do again. At intermission, I bought a ticket to see the show again.
Oh my God, for that night.
No, for a different day,
Okay.
but I've like never done that before.
That's amazing.
And that was intermission. And
Yeah.
then I think the second time I saw it, nobody applauded because they were so immersed in the show. And then I saw it, I think, on New Year's Eve. And I saw it three times at New York Theater Workshop. And then
Oh,
I saw it on Broadway, maybe like, and I bought like a really good seat because I fucking loved that show. First night of previews. I think I was like third row
wow.
center.
Oh my gosh.
And like I'm getting like really emotional about this. Um, the curtain goes up, you know, you taking the bows, everybody leaves the stage, lights go up. The audience wouldn't leave.
Oh my
That
God.
they made the cast go out again for like an encore curtain call.
Wow. That is one of those shows that like if you're ever like, oh God, I can't do this anymore. This industry is terrible. It's so hard. I don't know why I choose this. Like, what's going on? You go see a show like that and you're like, I could never
No,
not be a part of this. Like this is what why you do it, like to transports people, it transforms people. It like it made like people are here talking about it like emotionally, 10, 12 years after it closed on Broadway. It's
yeah,
like it's like that's pretty incredible that art can do that, and then it's gone. And I just think that's what makes what we do stage acting so special, and it's God, that show is definitely one of them. Just like unbelievable, top tier, incredible art that you just are like chasing. You're just chasing like what's the next thing that's going to come along that I put in that category. It's like because there couldn't possibly be anything, and then the thing comes. Um, and I just think that that's so cool that we continue to like push that envelope and make new things, and see how far we can take it is so it's so cool.
yeah. And if it makes you feel any better, when I had Steve Kazee on my podcast, I did cry.
That makes me feel good. I do
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So I definitely cried when we started talking about once. So there
Yes.
we go. And
It's,
having him on
how
was
could you
like
not?
a
How
huge
could you
thing
not?
too. And he cried at something else, but I will always have like, I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh, the podcast, he's like, yeah, I listened to the Steve Kazee episode. I'm like, oh, who cried?
Did we cry? Yeah.
Who cried? What part were you at? Who cried? And it goes, oh, you
Right.
both did. I was like, okay, great.
Great, great. Then you got to the
Great.
goods. You got to the goods.
Yeah, we almost cried when we talked about one. So we had an almost cry moment on the
It's true.
podcast.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so, but you also, back in the day, you performed at Rockwood that doesn't exist anymore. Do you still want to like, again, deep dive? Um, like, and you have like, I mean, these are old videos, but do you still write? Do you still want to perform? Like, what do you aspire to do that more?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't like I for the longest time, all the writing that I had ever done was just for myself.
Mhm.
I wrote like my it was my journal, the music that I wrote, and then only like recently did I feel like I was like wanting to perform that music, record that music,
Mhm.
um, and uh, and yeah, that show at Rockwood, like Shoshana Bean, like got for me. I was doing rehearsal with Shoshana in Waitress, and and I had my guitar because I was like playing music somewhere. At the time I was busking a lot in Central Park because I was just trying to like perform in front of people, like play music in front of people. I hadn't done that in a long time, so I was just trying to like get out there and do that. And she was like, "Oh, like, do you write music?" And Andrew Fitch, who was this dance captain at the time, was like, "Oh yeah, he writes music because I just love him, and I had played some of my music for him." And she was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, his music's great." I was like, "Andrew, stop, 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 stop." And he's like, "No, no, no, that's really, really, it's great." And she was like, "Oh, like you should play a show. Do you play shows?" I was like, "No, not really. I don't really like play out anywhere." She was like, "You're gonna play a show." She's like, "You're gonna play." She's like, "How long do you need? Like 2 months, a month?" And she's like, "Hang on, like, we're on like a break in our rehearsal." She calls up. She's got like the booker at Rockwood on the phone. She's like, "Hey, I got a guy who's a really good singer-songwriter. He's gonna play in a month. Is that okay?" And she's like, "Are you available on the 15th?" I'm like, yes." And she's like, "Okay, great. You're singing at Rockwood next month on the 15th." And so like I really need I love Shoshana Bean so much. She's like a great friend, And I needed somebody to like push me like that, to
Mhm.
like get out there and do that. And I think that's like the first time that I really felt like that was something that I really enjoyed. But
Mhm.
I don't know, it's never been a priority. Like I've never felt like I like needed to share it.
Mhm.
I like to write it and I like to perform it for like folks, but I've never been like I'm ready to like get this album out and really like hit it in that kind of way, you know?
That's what you have your saloon sessions for.
Exactly. So it's a good point. I think I'm going to start doing some of my original stuff there.
Mhm.
I've written songs with my wife that I think are pretty good, and I'd love to have people get some ears on those and just like start performing some of the music that I've been writing over the years. I think it's just a good exercise to do. It's good to like put yourself out there and share what you're making, regardless of what the intent is to do.
So before we go to a close, I kind of want to talk about because it is National Swing Day.
Yeah.
Uh, and you did swing standby for all these different roles. I think for those listening who kind of want to get an idea of what that's like for someone, how do you even go about starting, preparing, learning any and all of that stuff?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's different for everybody. I think it's like you get fully immersed in the thing, and it's one of those things that I think people like to say they're like I could never do that, but
Hmm.
you really could. I think people don't give themselves enough credit. I felt like I was like that, but I needed to do it out of necessity. It was like I was like I've been offered a job.
Hmm.
I want this job, and the only way to get this job is to say yes to 5 roles, 6 roles, 7 roles. It's like, oh, okay, yes, absolutely. And I mean, the crash course that I got put on for Psycho was like a deep lesson in like letting go. I'm such a perfectionist in my life. I'm such a control freak in my life, which is ironic that I chose to be an actor where you have zero control over your life whatsoever. But that's another story for another day.
Hmm.
The point being, like, you really just have to, when you're making the thing that's changing all the time, you're like, I can only do what I can do. I'm a human being, and whenever it's set, then I'm gonna go to work. Joining Waitress, which was already a moving thing, I had 4 weeks to learn 7 roles, and it just was like that was crazy because you learn one and you're like, wow, that's exhausting. That is like emotionally so taxing. I learned it though, I have it in there. And then they're like, okay, now we're going to start the second one. And you're like, ooh, what? And then now you learn the second track and everything's brand new. It's a completely different show. And then you're like, wow, I did not know that I could put all of that in there. Then they're like, okay, we're starting the third. And halfway through three, you're like, I actually can't do this. My brain is going to melt out of my head. I
Hmm.
don't think I'm gonna actually be able to do it. But then when you learn the third one, all of a sudden, when you've learned three, you've learned like the whole show. And that's different, I guess, with different shows depending on how many tracks there are. But like for what you're responsible for, you're like, okay, wait, no, okay, so now I see that this role now combines with that one. I remember in my first track, this guy's here, so that I'm there. So your brain starts to do the mapping for you, where you're learning the show again in this new role, but like you have so much more of an idea of where everything is on the board. And so things come a lot quicker at the more that you've stacked in there. But there is that period of time where you're like, my brain can't take any more information. Please stop. But you just push through, and so it is one of those experiences that um I am so grateful that I did it because one, I have such a respect for swings because of how difficult the work is, how it can be kind of a thankless job. You do jump in, you are the firefighter of Broadway. You do like people expect you to be able to do your job. Like that is the standard that we've set in the industry, and like your fellow company members are going to be there for you, but like you got to show up. You got to show up and nail it. Um, and so I just have a deep appreciation for the people who do it because I've done it, and I think it's made me a more patient person in my life. It's made me a more thoughtful person in my life. It's done a lot for my self-esteem, like what I'm capable of doing. I love my swings and I love National Swing Day,
Yeah, and which is today.
which
What?
is today, the 15th of January. What?
Yeah, I love how it worked out that way.
That
Just
is great.
it was
That is
kismet.
serendipitous, kismet. I like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you. You know, from one Jew to a non-Jew, I guess. Yeah, there you go. I so what's next for you? Do you have any, I mean, other than saloon sessions, do you have any other things happening? Are you
Um,
auditioning? Are you just taking like a I need a moment?
I'm right back on the grind. I've had like 5 or 6 auditions the last week and a half, and doing everything from voiceover to musicals to film, TV. I'm going out for everything. So I'm just trying to um, get back to the basics, do what I do, get the material, show up, do good work, and move on to the next thing. I've got nothing in the pipe as far as like creative things aside from saloon sessions that I'm going to be a part of for the foreseeable future. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what's next, as I continue to pursue this crazy ass business.
Well, I think that's a good transition so we can manifest these things for you for like any dream roles or projects.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, a dream role of mine is Floyd Collins in Floyd Collins, which is now going to be at City Center. Is that what it is, or where is
Try
it?
again.
Um, uh, Lincoln
There's a
Center.
center in it, Lincoln.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lincoln Center. It's at Lincoln
Didn't
Center.
you do that in college?
I did. I was Jewel Estes in college.
That I don't honestly, I don't know Floyd Collins at all. Like I know the story of it, but I don't
Mm.
know the show. So that's why I'm excited to see it
Oh,
because
yeah.
I like going, I mean, even if a show's been like I've never seen Gypsy. I'm aware. But
Sure.
I knew like parts of it and scenes and stuff, but I never seen like a whole production. So going into Gypsy last week, it was like the first time I ever saw a production of it. So I thought that was pretty cool and exciting.
I think that's like, extremely exciting. And like I
Yeah.
think that's like anyone who would give you grief about not seeing Gypsy before, I'd be like, well, joke's on you because the first time I got to see it was with Audra McDonald. So
NBD and like Leslie and no, Andrew Cover wasn't in that day.
like,
And Danny Burstein.
come on. I mean, come on.
No,
Unbelievable.
she was doing Rose's turn. I'm like, how fucking lucky am I that my first time doing like seeing Gypsy is with Audra McDonald?
You're very lucky is the answer
Yeah.
to that question.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna see Sunset Boulevard tomorrow, so I'll have a better idea of the Tony battle.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Very exciting. I have so many things I need to see. I've been obviously busy up until recently, so I'm strapping in for my theater going experiences. I need to get out there and start witnessing some magic.
I've just been poor, so
That's also usually my problem. Still a
yeah,
problem, but
yeah. I'm
I've
sure
got
you know people and stuff who can give you comps for things.
yeah, it's like usually they've like people just have house seats. It's like they don't really give actors comps
Yeah,
to shows. Like you got to know a stage manager usually, and then it's like you're like at the booth, maybe not in a seat,
yeah,
which is I mean a great way, fine way to see the show. It's just not the
yeah.
same.
Or just like do merch and see stuff. But like the thing with merch though is that if I'm seeing, let's say, like Hell's Kitchen, I have sometime worked. If
Mhm.
I'm in the mez booth, then I can watch the whole show. But if I'm
Right.
in the downstairs booth and then the outside lobby, you can't watch the whole show because you have to leave at a certain point to like set up your booth.
Right.
So like I can't see all of Hamilton. I gotta set up my booth at some point.
And you're like, I want to see all of Hamilton though. I don't want to go have to sit at my booth.
I saw it on Disney Plus. People are like, you need to see it on stage. It's not the same thing.
It's not
But
the
I've heard. But anyway, I'm Floyd Collins, getting back to that.
Lloyd Collins.
Mhm.
That's like one of my favorite musicals.
Mhm.
Um, and I love the role. The song "How Glory Goes" is one of my favorite musical theater songs ever written. I sing it for all of my auditions that are musical theater, even if it's totally inappropriate. I sing it. Um,
You sing it for American Psycho in your plum suit.
no. So any contemporary musicals,
Mm.
I don't sing it for. I sing it for like your more traditional
Yeah.
musical.
Yeah.
I always sing some sort of pop song, most likely for my contemporary musicals.
What did
In
you
my
audition in your what?
in my plum suit.
In your plum suit. What did you audition for what did you audition Swept Away with?
What did I audition Swept Away with? I think I played.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you played your guitar.
Yeah, I definitely did. I definitely played guitar and I auditioned with Icy Fire by Ed Sheeran.
Interesting. I say interesting. I don't know that song.
Yeah, I sing that for everything. I sing two songs for everything.
Floyd Collins and Ed Sheeran.
Mm.
Perfect. Okay, so Floyd Collins, what else? Dream
I
Rolls
mean,
projects.
uh, as far as like what's on now, it's like Floyd Collins is like my dream show.
Mhm.
Guy in Once is my other like dream show. I'm far too old to be Melchior in Spring Awakening anymore, but that would be another dream role of mine. Had been a dream role of mine forever. Um,
Listen, you can do like and get a group of people together and put on a concert somewhere.
yeah, I could do
54 Below does all the things. See,
that.
54 Below sings
Yeah,
Spring Awakening, and you can sing All That's Known
that's true. I
or
could do
Left Behind. Hit that high
that.
falsetto.
That all that's known is a deceptively difficult song because the lyrics change ever so slightly in all of those verses. It's
Mhm.
like it's a maddening song to try to learn and sing in an audition for Steven Sater.
Yeah, I sing that song all the time in my apartment.
Yeah, see, I need to be singing that more so that I know it better.
Yeah. Well, again, 54 Below sings Spring Awakening.
There we go. That's what's gonna do it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get
get
out.
your people. Who would be in your concert at that? Let's manifest this concert.
Okay. My my Venla would be who would it be? My Vinla would be my wife,
Hmm.
Audrey. My Moritz would be John Gallagher Jr.
I was
reprising his
gonna say, might as well have John Gallagher do it.
100%.
Hmm.
Um, and then I mean, I just want to bring everybody back who's already done it. I want Gerard to come back. I want Brian to come back.
Yeah.
Um,
Listen, if you're going to that thing in 2 weeks where we're gonna like re-meet each other,
yeah.
I'm sitting at the bar. I got the cheapest seats.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh,
I'm
because
like,
it's at four below.
yeah, it's 54 below. I
Uh,
worked from like 10 to 6 that day and had to be at
uh,
work the next day. And I'm like, thank God I live around the corner.
with the two drink minimum and their $18 like three $2 chuck that they're serving in there.
Listen, I'll sit at the bar. I'm like, I can't see a fucking thing, but I'm here.
That's right. You know what? I'm here to listen with my ears, not see with my
Yeah,
eyes.
I think Dom is going to be there, so I'll see him.
Oh, fun. Okay, great.
I don't know who else is going other than you.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe we'll go to Characters across the street after. Well, it's not Characters anymore. They changed it to something else. It's
Well,
a new,
characters is further down 50 something.
it's right
It's
across the street from 54 Below.
no, it's the Grizzly Pear.
Yeah. Oh, so they just moved Characters
Well,
now?
no, I'm thinking Faces and Names. If you
Yeah, I love that bar too.
Yeah. God, I haven't been there in probably over 10 years.
That is like the most perfect New York bar. Like when you think about like a rom-com at in like Christmas time or something, like two strangers meet at a New York bar. I feel like Faces and Names like is I pick that's what I picture.
Oh, great. Now I'm gonna have to like go there to meet a guy.
You are
There you go.
next year because it's Christmas time. It's got to be Christmas time.
Oh, that's true. Very true. I have to
Okay.
wait a whole year now. Damn it. Okay.
You know what? You could do some traveling in the year before you go. It'll be great.
Yeah, I'll go back to London. It'll be great.
Yeah, we're gonna do our Nando's live
Yeah.
podcast. That's what we'll do.
I honestly do want to go to London and Paris for the holidays, just to like be there for the holiday season. So maybe we'll do our Nando's then.
Okay, sounds
Our
good.
like podcast Nando's. Anyway, so spring okay. So once Floyd Collins, long in the tooth for Spring Awakening, but we're going to make this 54 Below concert happen. I don't know how, but if anybody's listening wants to make this happen, let us know.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be there sitting at the bar because it's cheaper.
There you go. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know you know what? I'll direct it. How about that?
That's great.
Done. I'll direct it. I don't know who we'll get somebody as musical director. It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, or is that
Nope, that's my stuff. That's my stuff.
okay?
That's as far as like my projects that are like possible for me at some point that I would love to do.
Okay. Let's talk. We already talked about two of them, but we're going to bring it up again. Top going theater experiences.
Oh wow. Okay.
I am
Easy.
seated. Let's go.
Um, um, it was Bobby Cannavale and Motherfucker with a Hat. Um, what? Oh,
I
oh. Sorry, like sometimes you cut out and I can't tell if
sometimes you cut out too. I was like, you like that?
I didn't like it. I fucking loved it.
Okay,
I
I just remember Elizabeth Rodriguez screaming the whole time,
Yeah,
and that's all I remember of the show. And I think I saw its closing night performance, but I also fucking love Bobby Cannavale.
me too. And I
Mhm.
was there, I was like third row. I was like a student rush ticket when I was
Mhm.
a freshman in college.
Yeah.
And I just remember I was like so moved by his performance. I thought everybody else was good,
Yeah.
like fine.
You got to see
He
Chris
was
Rock on stage.
he right. I'm like that's fucking Chris Rock. I'm like holy shit. Bobby Cannavale in that fucking play is like that's why it was a top theater going experience. Like my top theater going experiences are usually hinging on performance.
No,
Uh,
that's fine. I always tell people one of mine is Liev Schreiber in talk radio.
oh wow, okay, yeah,
Because I remember having a moment watching the show and being like, oh, so that's what acting is.
yeah, right. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's what you mean? That's what you
Yeah.
do? You're
And I
supposed to
was
do
in
acting?
college and I was like, I'm gonna stage door and tell him that, but he didn't come out. And then I don't really stage door anymore, but I saw Doubt and with him. And I was like, do I stage door? Do I? And I went to the stage door and I like got a little teary and I told him that and he was super lovely.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. That's really nice to hear.
Yeah.
Especially you told him about talk radio and how you saw that show. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I bet that.
Specifically that. And he was
Yeah.
so lovely about the whole thing. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, sorry, I'm like getting emotional about this.
No.
Yeah. I'm an emotional person. It's fine. I cried when I spoke to Steve Kazee about once. It's
I
you know,
love that's what it's all about, It's
yeah.
all about the emotional connection.
Yeah.
I think and so my other one is Bryan Cranston in Network
Mm.
was like his performance in that play was probably the best bit of acting I've seen on stage. Like it was unbelievable. Um And I just like you said, it's like those kind of performances, those kind of moments where you're like, this is what acting is. Like
Yeah.
this is what we're all like chasing. This is what we all want to, pay our $150 for a ticket to see.
Yeah.
Like those two, and then getting to see John Gallagher Jr. every night at Swept Away are my like end all be all best Broadway performances. Marin Mazzie in Next to Normal also. Um, oh my God, so good.
I unfortunately did not see her. I saw the original cast and that
Alice Ripley.
I did. I saw it at second stage
Oh,
with Brett
cool.
James, and then it came to the Broadway, and then I saw
Yeah. That was a show that Pace got tickets to all the time randomly. I don't know why, but Pace got tickets to that. I saw Next to Normal like six times
Oh wow.
because Pace got free tickets to it all the time, and I was obsessed with that show.
So you got to see Megan Fahey before she became like
I did,
huge
and I got to work
thing.
with Megan Fahey.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
Yeah, we did Van Hughes and Andy Mantis show together,
Hmm.
Manhattan Kids, which was so cool also. And then they did a run of it at I want to say Ars Nova,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure. But they did like a full production of it, and that was such a cool show too.
Yeah.
Um, they wrote it with the band that Van was in at the time called Teen Commandments, and they were so good, such fun, awesome music, great to sing. I hope something happens with that show eventually because that seems like one of those that could have like a big kind of young cult following if they did it again.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting being the age I am now. Um, just like seeing certain shows and being like, oh, like this is when I was younger, what people would obsessed over. Like I saw Teeth
Right,
and I was like, this is the new young obsessional like show that people will
right.
be
It's
obsessed
like
with.
the new Heathers. It's like
Yeah.
that.
Well, I will say,
I love Teeth.
oh, Teeth was like, well, it's closed now, so I can say it, but the fact that like the penises fell from the ceiling was just so incredible.
At my production, one lone dick fell like fit 5 minutes into the play at the very beginning, just like beep, and like was just dangling there for and would not stop moving. I don't know if it was like in the line of a air conditioner or
Were
something, but
you in the mezzanine or the
I
orchestra?
was in the orchestra, but I could not stop watching this like ticking dick like go back and forth like a grandfather clock for the entire show until all the dicks fell. I was like, oh, I understand the assignment now. I see the plan here.
Yeah,
Uh,
Daytona, she took advantage too soon
sure did.
in that sailing.
Sure did.
Man, yeah,
I could
okay.
not believe how much they did with that set. The all the things that it did, um,
Mhm.
how they utilized that space was
Well, did
like
you see it at Playwrights or did you see it at
see, I only saw it at a New World Stages, and people were telling me that it did more and it was better at Playwrights, the set.
Interesting. Interesting. I only saw it at New World Stages as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that venue is being utilized in the wrong way, and I think that Teeth is exactly the kind of show that should be there. I
Mhm.
think all the shows that are there we got to take the gazillion bubble show out. I'm sorry, the children can go somewhere else. Like
Mhm.
all those shows should be like really crazy, cutting edge,
Mhm.
interesting theater that is
Yeah.
like subsidized, affordable for people to go see, and then like that is like the catapult for shows to go to Broadway instead of where shows like go to die or um
Well, that's where that theater where Teeth is, that's where Heather's was.
right, right.
Yeah, and that closed. And then again, my old merch days, I worked at Broadway Common. I was at the Javits Center, and like
Mhm.
all these people are dressed as Heather's characters. And I said to one girl, I'm like, I have to ask, like, why is like everybody obsessed with Heather's now? And she said it was because of the bootleg on YouTube. And that's what made Heather's so big. Not when it was off Broadway, but it was this bootleg. And now it was in London and it was a huge hit. And now apparently it's coming back to New York, but nobody knows where or when.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. And like there's a I mean that's a good argument for people talking about like do we not film and do like live capture like we do the live capture where you can go watch at Lincoln Center or whatever for
Mm.
posterity. Like that's
Oh no,
great. And
this is a bootleg of
yeah,
Heather's. Yeah.
right, right, right. But that's what I'm saying is it's like instead of, telling people no and like everyone making their own bootleg on their own. It's like, do we monetize it as an industry, as a musical theater industry, Broadway industry, and say like, hey, we're live streaming this performance only this month or
Mm.
whatever. You can watch it wherever. It's like there, I understand both sides of the argument. It's like
Yeah.
you have to be in the room, but
Mhm.
also we could reach so many more people who don't know
Yeah.
like what we're doing out here.
Yeah.
And get more people involved in the industry, get more people like excited about musicals. It's like
Mhm.
what Wicked has done, the movie has, for us as an industry is insane in the last 2 months. It's
Yeah.
like if we can make musicals more accessible for people who can't fly to New York or can't travel to the big city where they're moving through, could be I don't know. There's an argument there to find a way to
Well, it's
stream.
interesting because a lot of things have been filmed, but then they're released after the fact. So Stuffs was filmed, but it's going to be released on PBS whenever it's going to be released. And then
Right.
Waitress is going to be on Max.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So I don't have to pay for it.
Right. Right.
No
But
offense.
yeah, exactly. It's like if we can show these things while they're still running and get a built-in audience, get more people going to the theater, then a lot of these shows might have a chance to live a little bit longer, as opposed to this crazy revolving door that we're in right now, which is cool that there's enough material to fill it. But I think that there's a lot of good art that goes spilling over the side, and it would be nice if we could find a way to, obviously it's called, stage business. It's the acting business. So it's like you got to make money. I understand there's a bottom line. So if there's a way to do that while people can continue to keep their jobs and do good art, and if
Mhm.
that means streaming a couple of those, from time to time, I think it's probably a good idea.
Was there ever a conversation about that with Swept Away?
No, no, we were kind of in the dark about everything at Swept Away. We didn't really know, what was going on as far as like the people who were making the decisions about anything.
Got it. That's off podcast. Anyway, so Inside the Actors Studio questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Were you at Pace with Inside the Actors Studio?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Okay. Did you see any of the tapings?
I went to the cast of Family Guy. I went to Bradley Cooper.
I, you went to Family Guy? That was, I'm trying to remember when that was, because that's tw 2009.
No, that had to have been, it was like my freshman year, 2010, I thought.
No, because I'm trying to remember. I feel like I was supposed to work it, but then I was doing the show that I was directing, and I couldn't because I used to work at Schimmel.
Maybe I was there like visiting before I got in, and that was it. I can't
All
remember.
right.
But I
Yeah.
did Bradley Cooper,
hmm
and then I'm not going to remember. Those are the ones that are sticking out to me.
I worked at that theater, so I worked a lot of inside the actor studios. So I worked there even after I graduated. And my claim to fame is asking Matt Damon a question, and like my question made the TV.
That's so cool.
I asked him about the movie Stuck on You.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite word?
Fuck.
What is your least favorite word?
No.
What turns you on?
Um, an, a neck.
Okay, bag. Please tell me you got that reference.
No.
Did you see the second season of Fleabag? Hot Priest,
Yeah,
she's
yeah, yeah.
obsessed with his neck. She goes, his neck,
Oh, I don't remember that part of it.
his neck. I'm telling you. Wow. Okay.
I need to rewatch. I need to rewatch. I
Mhm.
loved.
Yeah. I like the second season better. Not probably because Andrew Scott. Anyway, what turns you off?
Um, Bad smells.
What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was different?
Yeah.
It's actually shit.
Yes.
Uh, what sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of my cats drinking water.
Is it weird I knew it was going to be cat related?
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was going to be like, my cat's purring. What sound or noise do you hate?
Um, uh, nail. Oh, the people rubbing fabric.
Interesting.
Mm.
What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Um, a park ranger,
What profession would you not like to do?
accountant.
If heaven exists, oh, I should say, and finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, fuck. It's this guy. Yeah, man. Welcome.
Saloon sessions in the back.
Balloon sessions.
Yeah. And as Mr. Lipton would say, here are your students.
Yes.
We did it. So as we come to a close, you can stay on when we're done recording, but do you have anything you would like to add? Any questions, problems, concerns, life advice, things you want the people to know? I have nothing else to add to this.
Um, yeah, I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming on. I'm so happy that I always get excited when I see people who have gone to Pace, even if I don't know them. I'm like, oh my God, a Pace person. I went to Pace.
Yeah.
Kind of doing things.
Yeah, I love that like the community is strong. Like the Pace family is strong. I think that's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, because a lot
Uh,
of people who I went to college with, my age,
uh-huh.
a lot of them aren't really like pursuing it as
Yeah.
much as
Yeah,
like
I mean,
the younger generation. So
My
it's just
year.
really nice to see your people either.
No, there's like maybe four, three or four people who
Oh,
are like still pursuing acting who graduated from my year. Yeah.
wow.
It's like the fall off is real. It's hard. And that's the other thing I want to say. I'm like, this is fucking hard. It's so hard to do. It's so hard to like wake up every day and choose this, and like look at yourself in the mirror and believe in yourself. And I just think that that's like really important for people to do. It's like find a way to like have your self-worth outside of what you're doing for a living, regardless of if you're an actor or an accountant, like to find your self-worth outside of your job that makes you money is
Mhm.
like so important. And I am still working on doing that. I've been trying to do that for years, like I feel like so much of my self-worth came from being a working actor or working at Waitress, and it ended up being it was I lived there because I was always rehearsing a new person in the show and doing the show. And so anytime I saw anyone outside of the show, that was the only thing I had to talk about. It's the only thing anyone wanted to talk to me about. And so
Mhm.
when it was over, it's like I had no idea who I was or what I wanted or what I like to do. So just think it's important to find yourself outside of your profession, whatever it may be, and to not take things so deep. Be more present in your life if you can, because it's hard to do when you live in New York City. And that's what I'm trying to do every
Yeah,
day.
that's wonderful. I think that's a really lovely place to end.
Perfect.
Yeah, great. That's it. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Well, Brandon, again, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so happy we made this happen. And shout out
Pleasure.
to Tara for initiating this.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank
Thanks for
you,
having me.
Tara. You're the best. You can also listen to her episode of the podcast from a couple of years ago if those listening to this want to listen to her episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and listen to it after this.
Yeah, I honestly, it was in my old apartment. That's when I was doing in-person interviews. And that was pre-pandemic.
Whoa,
Yeah, and she was the first person I did the Inside the Actor Studio questions with. And then
that's fun.
like a few days later, James Lipton passed away. So we were like,
Whoa,
yeah. So then I'm like, I'm just going to do it for every episode now because it's
you
it's
got to do
fun
it.
and people like doing it, and it's a nice little way to honor.
It's so fun. I do love those.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. Make sure to follow. You want to like shout out like where people can follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Brandon Kalm, at Brandon Kalm. That's what I
With a
am on
K.
all my with a K, Kalm with a K.
Mhm.
Um, and that's me on all my platforms. So you can find me there.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.